Hello, everyone, and welcome to the great start, and welcome to the 10th point Canadian Highlander tournament
Did you say third
weekly.
point?
Yeah, no, I say 10th. I think I'm pretty sure. Look, we are things, and we're gonna show games and say things about them.
It
Joining
sounds
me
great.
today on the
No,
line
that
is
was
Lowman.
seamless. Honestly, it's fine though. On Twitch, like I tend to find that like when you self ranch or when you're like less seamless, like more people just want to listen to you just go on and babble. Like it's great. I don't know why it is, but 100% showmanship. Maybe 20% accuracy, but you're fine. Hey guys,
As
this is
people
Loman. I'm
might have
joining
been able to
TRM.
tell, I have Loman on the line with me today after a couple weeks of absence. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing
Um,
all right, man. I'm alive. I'm doing well. I'm in the modern world. I still don't have a camera on me. Because I like to
we'll
sit
get that
here.
fixed at some point.
You could just
we'll,
put like a trade wind rider over there or something like that. Like, man, I'm in my
that's
house.
that's
Man. Like
that's that
I
sounds
want to
like
lounge.
work.
I want to
So
lounge around and do whatever I want to do.
that's fair.
You know.
Anyway, so just a quick explanation of of the stream. If you have somehow made your way here without knowing what's going on, we're going to be playing 3 rounds of Canadian Highlander. But this is an ongoing weekly series of tournaments where users from our wonderful Discord, which you can join at exclamation point Discord, will face each other. Sign up is absolutely free, and you can try to you can join the Discord and join the tournaments if you are so inclined for your future weeks. We do keep track from we are organized in season. We do keep track from week to week. Seasons tend to have 8 to 10 weeks in them. Looks like it's gonna be a bit of a long one since we're still in February and we're going strong. But the basic idea is that at the end of the season we'll have an end of season tournament where we crown a season champion, and then there is much rejoicing and all of that. Other the other thing is if you want to support the stream, I recommend subscribing. If we are now capable of accepting subscription, as of like a month ago, we are officially a Twitch affiliate channel. So that's like I have some ideas of where to go with this, but if I mean, I'm gonna stop talking now. We have joining today, and by stop talking I mean just change the subject. We have joining today 13 players, so that is a large crowd, larger than we have had in the last few weeks. Okay, guys, say hi all at once, very chaotically, in a way that nobody can understand what you're saying.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, see that this is our player base, organized as always. Um, I'm about to post round one on the oh my god words on the Discord. Lucas, you have the buy, so if you want to hang out in the commentary booth and talk,
Sure.
and help Loman with commentary, that's great. Otherwise, feel free to just not, however you prefer. And our who do we want to feature? Who do we want to feature?
Hey guys, just to kind of harken back to some of the things that the Red Mage was saying. As far as joining this event, MTGO, well, it may be a program that's, or client rather, that's near its sunset days. Honestly, is a very inexpensive way to play an Eternal format such as Canadian Highlander. If you are a commander, like a competitive commander player that finds that it's a little more difficult to get games where you're really able to play the decks you want to and actually have solid and good games of Magic. I would say this is probably a format that may interest you if you weren't attached to having a commander specifically. I bring that up because it's funny enough, like, within the last 24 hours, I was trying to get a game, and in a rare case where I could not get a game over the Discord, I was like, hell, I haven't played Commander in like a year and a half. So I grabbed out my, my Kess deck, which actually I helped build back when 1v1 was a thing on MTGO for 2 of the trophy leaders. And I started playing some folks. And within like 10 minutes, I'd had 3 folks tell me to go F myself. And I was like, well, I legitimately asked them, like, hey, where do I even play my deck if I want to play this, style of Commander? They're like, they didn't say anything. So it's just, it's very inexpensive to play it. It may seem prohibitive because there are cards like Black Lotus is a vintage ban list. But MTGO is very cheap. You can get Black Lotus for like $3 to $4. And one of the best decks in the format is Red Deck Wins. You can play that deck for about $20 tops. You can also have rental services that, for like $20 to $30 a month, you can change up decks if you kind of want to learn and explore the format. And there's also a lot of great content that's starting to kind of bud and develop, sort of like the 10th point here, that you can kind of get engaged in if you want to see what the format is more about. But basically, it is like playing Legacy to Vintage Light. 20 life, and honestly, really a brilliant format. Probably my favorite way to play the game. I've been playing since, about a half year to 9 months after the beginning. And, it's probably the way that I best engage with the game now and have fun doing it. I don't grind anymore, nothing like that. So, I mean, it's very fun. And the community is very inclusive, very understanding, and like they want to help. So if you have deck ideas, put them up in the Discord and folks will tell you what's what and if it'll work. If you meet up with me, I'll probably sound like I'm grumpy, but I'm probably telling you the truth about your deck idea. But yeah, a lot of great folks in the community as well. So very inclusive format. So with kind of that aside, did we get a look at the matchups? TRM, what are we watching?
So we're watching Bailite versus Pronoun. Bailite his usual Abzan control list. I will be honest and admit that I do not remember what Pronoun is playing, but
Pronoun's playing Artifact Stompy. Stompy.
Oh, that sounds great actually. That sounds like a very interesting.
Now I don't know that for a fact unless they changed up their deck, but I do know that they said they were changing some cards out in their deck, and one of those cards is Ghostfire Blade.
Based on the message that they sent me, that sounds about right. They sent me a message but I haven't had the time to open the deck list. But
yeah, Ghostfire Blade goes in one deck. It's
that is
colorless
fair.
attack deck. It's a colorless attack deck.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for to see the game open on MTGO
and that
to go to the game.
Should be an interesting matchup for the viewers. So the Artifact Stompy deck is this may sound like a fairly cynical view of the format as far as diversity goes, but I think most decks tend to be varieties of Red Deck Wins. There are a ton of aggro decks you can play. The best tends to be Red Deck Wins. D&T is kind of in a class of its own. White Weenie / Death and Tax is kind of a class of its own. It's more of an aggro control deck.
Yeah, I mean, Death and Tax is like, I keep having this theory that it's kind of like a tempo deck in which like often like the cards that you include are similar to the cards that you include to deal with tempo. It's just that, like, control is... there are 2 flavors of control, right? There is Wiseman and Prison. And like the traditional tempo decks are aggro Wiseman deck and Death and Tax is an aggro Prison deck. But... okay.
Sure. It doesn't matter how you counter spells. You counter them with a proactive card or with a counter spell. It's the same thing. I mean, but what I was trying to tie into is like that most decks are kind of derivative of like Red Deck Wins. And like the Artifact Stompy deck is more of a high rolling version of like Red Deck Wins, quote unquote. It has cards like Tolarian Academy, Mishra's Workshop, and you can make Boku mana and like resolve like 3 to 4 threats on turn 1 and win the game by turn 3 or turn 4, which is about Red Deck Wins pace. Like here you see the Soul Ring coming out.
Yeah. And like the cards they play are very different than the cards that Red Deck Wins play.
Yeah.
But the strategy is very reminiscent where you're trying to go fast.
It's more synergy based. It's a more synergy based strategy. It relies on more cards to go right, but when they do, it's very overpowering. So the matchup's going to be interesting from the standpoint that if like I don't like Bailite's hand in this matchup. I mean, it's a keepable hand in the dark. But like you want stuff like Toxic Deluge. So if they have a start like this and you Toxic Deluge them, basically you invalidate like 4 to 5 of their cards probably. Even some of their cards in hand will be invalidated because they do have equipment in the deck. this is going to be more of a struggle based on this is an 8-point hand. So you have Mana Crypt plus Soul Ring plus Smuggler's Copter. Probably, I think you activate the Copter and just put counters on all of it right here. You have a Mimic. So we're going for a lower value line and just higher tempo here, because normally you play the Mimic out first to try to put counters on the rest of your stuff. They also have Experimental Frenzy, which if they hit a red mana is just going to probably go off with this much mana in play.
Yeah. I mean, Pronoun as an Abzan, Bailite as an Abzan deck can do a reasonable job of dealing with enchantments. Like, he's playing cards like
artifacts. Yeah, but
yeah,
100%.
I mean, I'm talking about the Spectral Frenzy, right? Like, yeah, like Spectral Frenzy can come down and like then an Out of Autumn can mop it up, but it needs to be immediate. The card is super scary when it stays unchecked.
I think the problem with it is like you basically need to kill it at instant speed. Like Night of Autumn's great. Like you're just gonna get overwhelmed. You're getting swamped, right? Like this is like I was saying before, like the high roller kind of hand, and like one of the very powerful things the deck can do. Abzan has the tools to stay in this matchup. It's not likely to win. He's not likely to win this one unless he draws like a Wrath effect right now. Like, he may have one more turn to draw like a Pernicious Deed or a Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge is getting a little dicey because it's going to take a huge hit next turn.
Yeah, especially because the creature that on the other side that becomes bigger. So like Toxic Deluge becomes more painful as that happens.
Yeah, I honestly don't mind like going for an Elf Clamp here just to try to set up my next turn, because like you're so far behind that like you need to find the right card here. Like I could see putting Elf down, going Skull Clamp, and maybe Thought Seizing, but like. Or you could go Elf and then cast down their best threat, which would be their Copter.
Yeah.
I kind of like that too. And then you clamp on the next turn to try to find the board sweeper.
Yeah, and casting the Copter down also like has a tempo advantage because they probably tap down one of their creatures to like crew it. So like there's a whole there's a whole. I
think what we're gonna see is them leave up cast down. I think leaving up cast down makes sense to get rid of the Copter, and then you clamp next turn to try to find Toxic Deluge or Damnation with 5 mana available, and then you can possibly turn the game. Wasteland's a beating.
As you mentioned, right? Like this is a synergy deck that tries to assemble cards together. So like the fact that they have Copters, the fact that like Copters allow to filter cards around so that you can actually put A and B together more frequently. So like Copter is a head that is incredibly powerful. Like it's already incredibly powerful, but in a deck like this, it has added value.
I think Bailite's playing this one as well as they can in the position they're in. The downside to we may see them discard Wasteland and play another threat on if they draw it, which would be probably the best for Bailite here. Like they're already really dead. Like being more dead doesn't matter. Like getting more card resources if you do Mise, the answer you need off the clamp does matter. But if they do Wasteland here, it actually takes them off of. Actually, doesn't take them off a clamp line into Damnation because you have the Elf to tap for the 1 green mana. I think it's so they're going for saving their life total here. I think getting rid of the Copter makes the most sense here though, because it's a threat that's not going to be a threat on the next turn. They also don't have black mana. I failed to note they don't have black mana. They needed to hit like a filter land here. They have 1 black mana, so they can hit specifically Toxic Deluge to stay alive and then hope their opponent misses for a turn. They hit all lands, it's game over. So, yeah. I mean, they're dead. Are they actually literally dead? Not quite. They can block and take 5, but they have to fetch, so they're actually dead. They don't have to fetch, but like that land's useless. They just played if they don't like. They basically are still tied off of black mana. And now Toxic Deluge is not out, and that all their fetch lands in hand are dead. Yeah, I mean that wasn't a good clamp, but this is going to be a hard hand to beat regardless.
So we have.
Actually, no, they're not dead. So they have to
block.
I've
had some bad news from the back tables.
Yeah, what's up?
Basically, 2 players. I didn't realize that 2 players didn't show up. Both Arakasi and Niklas are not around, which means that we have 2 players that currently have no show. What I'm gonna do is having them play each other. So we're gonna have Blahguy and Card Forever play each other instead.
I don't think that matters any for the stream, though. I mean, we're going to have 11 matches. It's going to be 3 rounds. So, I mean, honestly, having less players at 3 rounds, in my opinion, kind of makes a little more sense. I think once you get over 12, like, generally probably want to go 4. But
I agree with you there. The main reason that I don't do that is that we start, like, people sign up under the conceit that it will be 3 rounds, right? So, like, I don't want people to be punished because it's like, oh, I signed up for a 3-round event, and now you're saying that it's going to be a 4-round event.
No, that makes sense. Time makes sense, unless we,
Yeah, obviously, if we started on time, it would be more easy to justify that also, but that's, again, as I say, it's
all right, so
it's an ongoing struggle. We're working on that.
Gotcha. I like this hand from Bailite. I think you can get rid of the Knight here. Maybe you keep the Knight. You keep your threats. You definitely want to keep Fatal Push. Maybe you can actually get rid of a land here. You get rid of a land and be fine. Keep the fetch plus the Bayou. And then hope to draw into land over the next 2 turn cycles, which is it's the most reasonable draw in that deck. I think it's a 37 land deck.
Yeah, it's a pretty land heavy deck.
Yeah, I don't like getting rid of it. I like getting rid of the lands, I think, thinking about it a little more.
It's safer, but I don't think that safe does it in a match like this. You kind of have to, like, high roll them back a little bit.
I think it's actually the most safe play. Yeah, okay, they're going to get rid of a land. I think it's the most safe play from the standpoint that, like, your highest percentile draw is land. Like, so keeping more threat density that are grow-style threats that are going to be able to compete with the style of threats that the Pronoun's playing, I think, is good, and they both can
the flip side of the argument is that if you draw 1 land too many, at least you're casting your spell and you can maybe keep up with a lackluster draw from your opponent. Whereas
I don't want to bank on my opponent not knowing how to mulligan their deck, though. Like, because they probably do know how to mulligan it, right? I think it's reasonable to get rid of 1 of the lands, but I can see this play as well. This is a more, how do you put it? Like, I think this is the maybe over careful mulligan decision. I think you keep the.
I mean, they did put the land at the bottom. The threat. So, like, they did the play that you suggest.
Oh, did they mulligan to 5? If they mulligan to 5, yeah, 1 land makes sense. I'm sorry, I thought it was a mull to 6. No, they didn't.
To 5. No, they kept L. No, sorry, I just misunderstood what's going on.
Okay, if it was a mull to 5, like
no, it was a mull to 6.
Okay, yeah, I think you keep the Hydra there. Just me. I could be wrong. I mean, they could just draw 2 non-lands and, like, it'll look great. But I think statistically, I think
but you're much more likely to draw 1 and 1, right? Like that's what the median draw from your deck is.
The highest probability of any deck drawing any decks draw, the highest probability is a land of some variety. I think even for
the
Dredge.
second non-land in a row.
Yeah, well, yeah. The only deck that would not be true of is Goblin Charbelcher. That deck does have a higher probability of drawing a non-land than a land, but every other deck in the format, the highest probability of drawing any specific type of card is land. So, here, honestly, I can see vindicating just vindicate because you don't have pressure on the board. And you have 2 removal spells, so if they resolve a threat, you have options against that. That card's just going to lead to problems. I mean, you can just transmute their I don't want to say transmute, but you can convert their Seed of the Synod into a real artifact, probably like a Mana Vault or a Soul Ring. I'm sorry, not Mana Vault, Mana Crypt or Soul Ring. So I like that line. I do think at some point Bailite wants to. One of the ways you beat the Workshop Weenie deck is when it has its more median draws. This is a more median draw out of the deck. It's it has those like turbo murder draws like we saw in game 1.
They don't have 8 points in hand.
Even if they have 4, like just a ring or a crypt is really good. Like here, I think you dev the Knight of the Reliquary just to get Strip Mine online, to knock out one of their threats on the following turn, and then
as it turns out, the Pronoun has like an extremely land heavy hand, so like it doesn't.
Yep. They do. This hand's definitely not.
Strip Mine not the best, but like Bailite doesn't know that. Also, this Hrikmo is not having the time of his life.
Strip Mine's good from the standpoint that it removes a Mishra's Factory, which is an additional attacker.
That's true.
For kind of free. Yeah, for kind of free. You can even do it in blocks, like you block with the Knight of the Reliquary on this goofy Master, and then you obviously can't hear. You take 6 here. But then you blow up a land, make it a 4/4, and then blow up their Mishra's Factory, shrink down the Master by 2, And well, shrink the master by 1, grow the knight by 1, and then you have a favorable block. So I like taking the time to develop that there, and that's kind of one of the things I was trying to tie in, like in the initial comments. We kind of got stuck in medias res, is that I think as the game goes longer, if this game doesn't come down to high rolls and like having really good openers, I think the control deck can actually take this list, because I've played against the Pronoun a couple times, and like generally, the games I would lose against them would be like, have a crypt or a ring, and like I just lose to that, or a Mishra's Workshop. And when they had draws that were maybe not this weak, but more along these lines, like I could navigate my way through them pretty well, because they're a synergy deck. They commit more cards to enabling that. Like, the more artifacts you kill, the worse a card like Master is, right?
I want to give a shout out to the Shrikmo in Bailite's hand, because that is probably the worst that card has looked in a long time.
No, it's not bad here. You got Goblin in hand. You got a Trinket Mage. It's gonna hit something.
Yeah,
and
well,
honestly,
now it can. Up until this Trinket Mage in the table, Bailite literally could not cast it, otherwise it would kill his own Knight of the Reliquary.
Like,
because Shrikmo, as it turns out, is not a Mei.
I kind of no, it's not. I've actually forced someone to blow up their own true name Nemesis with that card. It was great, by removing my own threat.
I think I think there was a cube match in which I has the FTK on an empty board twice and had to kill the FTK itself, and I was not happy about that.
Yeah, it's a thing you can do.
Yeah, it's a thing you shouldn't do. Hard recommend against doing it.
I kind of like. I think I like just mining them here. You got to do something. Like maybe you just find another like fetch land, but you're already at 11, so you don't really want to gamble too much with your life total. I mean, you remove some of the stuff on board here.
Do you mine the Blinkmoth Nexus or the Mishra's Factory?
I don't know if I strip here or not. I probably just find a fetch like they're doing to build some equity in Knight. And then I'm gonna Fatal Push because I've already removed a card. I'll Fatal Push the Master. You could Downfall the Master too. I think Downfall honestly probably gets better over time than Fatal Push does. Yeah. I don't think you Fatal Push the Shrink. Shrink, I think you just leave B. This is certainly not a weak line, but I think I would have pushed. I mean, they could have just done it for mana advantage. And here, like, you pretty easily just play this out, find your land. You have a 5/5 that can become very fast, a 7/7 in play if you want to find a fetch off of one of your lands. You get an additional land drop here. Basically, they're able to leave up 2 mana on their opponent's turn with Knight, and they have pretty favorable blocks. So their push and their Assassin's Trophy are both up. So like Mana Crypt, this is another thing with like Mana Crypt, like the power cards. Like when you have like the openers that have the gas plus the means of putting your foot down to the floor with Mana Crypt, they can look really good. Like this card's gonna get cast right now, and this Fatal Push is just gonna eat it. But they're just basically off the top deck now, and like it's not like they're on a deck where like having access to 10 mana is really any better than having access to like 4. So it's actually probably good that they drew the Mana Crypt for Bailite at this point. I do think you just go ahead and I think here I'd find Strip Mine. Maybe not. Maybe you just find a Black Source. I don't think you really need to take a lot more damage here. So I don't know if I'm in favor of like finding a fetch. You could just so you have one huge hit from a Knight at some point. But going to 9 could be relevant. Like the cards I've seen, like I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't know this, if they're like playing like, leap effects or like shrapnel blast, but it could come down to some of those sort of style effects. All right, find a Fauna Shaman is pretty good. It can actually get rid of this Shriek Maw and turn it into like really anything. Siege Rhino would be fine here. Like just get some beef on the board. But yeah, we're in a spot where, like, I don't think Bailite minds if they draw lands or if they draw spells. And the Pronoun has to draw spells. Like, you see they're drawing their fast mana still. They drew the Ancient Tomb here. They're trying to cast out this Goblin, which will entomb something. But I think what we're going to see is we may actually just see a hard cast Shriekmaw next turn if they draw their land. If they're running Gaia's Cradle, they could definitely convert one of these lands into a Gaia's Cradle.
Locally correct play is clearly Assassin's Trophy, your own card.
You can't target your own cards.
Oh, bollocks!
Yeah, it actually doesn't mechanically work. I mean, nor would it be a good play, but it fails on all levels, unfortunately.
Well, you
Although I will freely admit that, like, when the
you can
card
use
first
it-
came out, I thought of trying to do that because, like, I am someone who has path to exile my own shit to get lands.
you can actually do something else though. You can use the knight.
Oh yeah, you could on your turn, but then you have it tapped on their turn, which, like, I think this is a matchup where you want to block.
Block what?
Pretty heavily. Yeah, I like blocking in this matchup quite a bit. I put a lot of equity in it.
I
And
agree,
like
but I don't see what
Bailite's
you need to
also, well, it is like an interpersonal like thing, assessment of Bailite and how they play. They're a player that looks to grab every ounce of value out of every card they have. Like he will play this very slowly, very carefully.
Absolutely.
Just to get every ounce of value that he can out of it. Because I think, honestly, it's because they enjoy playing that way, mostly. I don't know if it's always right, but it's going to be fine here to play it that way. Like, yeah, okay, I have Cradle in deck, so they are looking to hardcast this. I think they'll hardcast a Shriek Mob, but they could convert it to something better. If they're running like a Primeval Titan, you can just get that. And, like, that's a game win as well.
Yeah, I don't know if these... how much mana... Oh, no, but they're not quite close. I'm saying, are we in, like, Emrakul territory here? Because they do play Emrakul the Promise Hand. And I don't know how far we are from it.
Honestly, I have to look at their graveyard to see their Delirium count.
Sorcery, land, instant.
I don't think Emrakul is in this deck to beat aggressive decks. I think it's in the deck to beat blue decks.
I don't, but, if you can.
Primeval Titan Primeval Titan, like, just does the job better, in my opinion. It just kills them probably faster.
Emrakul costs 10 mana right now.
Yeah.
Also, can you not get it with Fauna Shaman anyway, because it's only green creature?
No, Fauna Shaman gets anything, man. It's survival to fittest, very slow.
Okay. I don't know how green cards work.
Fauna Shaman's a good old card. I play it in some decks, like creature combo decks generally, but, like, Bailite loves their value, so they're playing it. It used to be played in a lot more green decks, 10 years ago.
It's like kind of an odd inclusion, honestly, for...
No, I think it's fine. I mean, it's slow, but it kind of plays to how Bailite enjoys playing the game. It's not, like, probably optimal for, like, an Abzan mid-range deck, but in a more controlling build of it that has more value-centric creatures, I don't think it's bad. They're not even going to find anything with it. They're just going to kill this thing right now, which I think makes good sense. Like, one of the ways they lose is if that thing, whatever it put in the graveyard, which I can't see right now, whatever it put in there, if it gets it back, like, could be bad. And there's not really much going on. Attacking into a Mishra's Factory, I guess they want to activate it so they can strip mine it. That makes sense, I suppose.
Copter hits the field.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to do much.
Well, I mean, Pronoun has a bevy of mainlands to activate it with.
So let's think through this. So, like, if this thing hits right here, it gets them to 8. And on the following turn, they draw Shrapnel Blast and are able to get a hit in off of Mishra's Factory. And for some reason, Bailite doesn't think about being at 5 as being relevant. Then the Smuggler's Copter being a flyer could be relevant. I think we're just going to see this thing get blown up here. But now they're at 8. So, like, if this Copter hits once, like, it honestly could matter. Because I don't know for a fact. I'm not looking at the deck list. But, like, I assume Shrapnel Blast is a card you're playing in this deck. Like, it's just a really good card.
What is he getting?
Huh?
Is he just filling a stake full of lands? Might be. What he's doing.
Oh, he wants to waste. I mean, if he
wastes
wastes the Mishra's Factory, the Copter can turn on. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I think he's gonna
get rid of the flyer. He's gonna get rid of the flyer, and then he'll probably mine on his next turn so that his opponent has an open board with no ability.
Oh my god, is that really?
What, Antuco Monastery? Yes.
That is an Antuco Monastery. That is a real card that has been drawn at this very moment.
Is this a lethal attack? Yeah, it is. So what's going to happen here is they're either going to activate their Smuggler's Copter or their Factory. The problem with this line is they can still assign blocks. If he goes to Assassin's Trophy they'll activate their Smuggler's Copter in response. Block the Knight. I don't think it's a bad line of play. But
this is not being lethal anyways.
Wow. I have never seen Antuco Monastery before. If you have Threshold...
Oh, I'm sorry, it does. Yeah, you're right, it does. You never seen Antuco Monastery?
Like 10
no, if you have Threshold, that is a hell of a mainland. Holy crap. 4/4 with First Strike?
Yeah, it's really big. It's really big. But, there's a reason it's not really played as much anymore because it's a colorless land in a format that's very
No,
fast.
no. I mean, I agree that
Yeah.
like it has some downside, but like
Yeah,
for with first strike.
It has some massive this is a card that like used to probably like see play in like what is it, Mystic Enforcer decks and like Threshold
And
decks.
Mystic Enforcer.
Yeah, it's a good card. I mean, it's
Oh
old.
yeah,
It's
it
too
is.
old
It
now.
is. I suppose actually, does Mystic Enforcer?
It's a
do
5/5.
anything,
It's a
right?
5. It has historically, like in some of the old Grow style decks that like
Yeah,
have
it
a very
doesn't
easy time
anymore
getting
though,
Threshold.
Ooh,
I
that's
still
the
see
best
people.
mulligan from Bailite there. Oh, he's got a key?
Um,
And draw the land.
like his opponent's hand's not that good though. Like
No, I'm
shit.
surprised Pronoun kept.
Yeah, their hand is not.
That was a 5-lander.
I don't mind Bailite's keeps. It's probably better than going to 5 here, and they've got a threat if they draw a land, which again, highest likelihood draw in their deck, which they did draw in.
How good is Campbell in this matchup?
Not at all. It's in there for Storm
Yeah.
because this deck's really bad against
And
Storm.
control.
I mean, yeah, I know it's there for this matchup. As I was wondering, like, does it do anything, or is it just like a 2/3?
It's a 2/3 that
Okay.
holds a
And it
skull
might
clamp and
drain
turns into
once.
cards. Yeah, it may drain once, and it also holds a skull clamp and dies and blocks and draws you more cards.
Yeah, it's definitely not useless, but it's not what you're looking for,
Yeah,
really.
but on the other hand, Pronoun's hand is kind of heinous. Like he's already out of gas.
Well, and his opponent knows how bad his hand is. He knows he drew all these cards. He knows he drew this card, so like he knows his hand's all like a man land and 2 fetch lands.
Yeah.
So you're gonna play out your ooze here. Maybe not. I think I would just get ooze on
probably
board.
cast down the Stone Cold Serpent, and then
Yeah, you
Pronoun
get ooze down
doesn't
first.
have anything.
Yeah, no, you still get ooze down first because then you can like if you hit the land, you can like get some equity off ooze initially and kind of get it bigger so it blocks better. It's fine either way, but like
Well, you
I
can do that
kind of like
either way, really.
you
Yeah,
can,
I mean,
but I
but
like
still, like, if you draw land, you can still go ooze, eat your Stone Coil.
this.
move on
This
with
is
my
kind of
life.
like maybe more of an idiosyncratic like difference between like how I would play and how Bailite plays. I tend to look for like the highest upside tempo line that will end the game faster, so they get
But
less
I
draw
don't, I don't
steps.
think you're gonna be
Yeah, let's
attacking with ooze on this turn anyway. Right?
No, probably not. Probably not. But you can block the Memnite, right?
Yeah.
So like you functionally, you take 3, but like you've also presented a clock, and you may be because you saw their hand with Inquisition. Like they're drawing threats, and if they don't draw threats, like you're probably attacking them because you have a thing that basically has pseudo lifelink and also can clock pretty fast, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just it's a slight difference in like how folks play, and I don't think either way is per se like right or like that one's really close. Like I'm gonna trust they know their deck better than I know their deck.
I think
Shoutouts to
Pronoun
Scavenging Goose, which was in a
actual
Highlander
hand.
deck in
All
its
right,
first
so
inning for reasons.
Sorry to interrupt. The game just ended.
Oh
no,
yeah,
they don't.
Liliana.
They don't have black. They don't have black, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
they're just
the
gonna play
double
out a
black,
Gamball.
but yeah, if Liliana hits the field, this game is just over. We're done. There is nothing. There is nothing to talk about.
That's not true. Look at that.
Oh,
That's a hell of a draw.
boy.
Oh, Mystic Forge, eh?
That is definitely something.
This is also.
Comes
This is
forward.
also, in my opinion, like why you want to start presenting pressure because like they have cards. Like you don't per se know that they have cards like Mystic Forge and Experimental Frenzy, but like a deck like this is going to need like engines in it because it does have these more median draws, unlike Game 1 where it just high rolled and kind of had the nut hand. And so it's going to need to kind of grind in a lot of games. It's not just fast enough.
This land heavy draw is actually even better with Mystic Forge because it allows you to vomit the top
So I
of the
think you
library
actually just
faster.
get in both creatures here, don't you? And just like present the
Oh,
trade.
I slam a Finks to attack. Attack with
Yeah,
all. I don't
great.
care if I trade with the Scavenging Ooze. I want to keep their board open. I want them to be tapping Mystic Forge, take damage. I want them to be tapping their
Agree.
Ancient
Yeah, like the
Tomb.
Mystic Forge just represents an unsurmountable amount of card advantage. The
Honestly, I
amount
think
of
they-
value
I
will
think they
get
might
you to
block
beat
the
them, so you just
Cannonball.
need to slam past it and try to win with damage. Which your deck isn't the best at doing, but it's what you need to do.
It's not about what your deck's good at. It's about what
Yeah.
the situation
Yeah,
warrants,
you,
right?
yeah, agreed. Like that's what you need to be doing in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, like
though-
I've played a lot of blue, white, and just cast idiot birds and like beat down decks that were like far more aggressive than me, just because like that's what I had. It was the play I could make, and it was based on the situation where they were out of gas or whatever, and like I just did it. And yeah, like the game looks a little better if they're at like 5 to 4 right now,
Yeah.
five
I
or
mean-
4 life. But I mean, they're at a low
How
life.
about
Campbell
that
did
is
get,
the
Campbell
other
did
there,
get there
though.
get in there for 4, so that's exciting.
So
So
we're gonna
Black
see this
Source
probably
was
be the Aggro
found
come down
here.
here. Take care of likely the Revoco.
Yeah, you kill Revoker, eat the Revoker, and then slam, I think.
Exactly.
Because I have to reread Antiquities
now
War.
they can't even kill
When
any of the
Antiquities War
creatures
goes off, this game will be over. All artifacts will become 4/4s or 5/5.
Yeah, well, not over. He's 23 life.
Agreed.
Blocked. He's got a kitchen finks. I don't think it's over, but like I know it's a powerful effect. I was pretty sure it was like a Titania song or like a Tezzeret Ultimate.
Yeah, all artifacts.
I don't think the game's going to go that long. I think the Pronoun's probably going to die before then, but we'll see. I mean, like they have this good blocker in Etch Champ, and they've got a Mirror Enforcer on top, but as more artifacts die on the board, you know, Mirror Enforcer becomes a little less good.
He chose not to eat. He could have attacked first at the very least. Oh, he doesn't even want to get in with schools.
Yeah, I think you attack with all here. Just slam.
Yeah, I think
just
slam.
Slam all.
I'm with you there. Like
yeah,
you
I would have slammed
you
earlier
can't
and like
on the top of Pronoun's
there was
deck
no
to be
reason for him to
merciful
play
to you for like
that.
78 turns in a row. You just need to.
Well, obviously the Forge. Well, and they have a Forge in play, and they have
yeah,
a
because of the Forge. Like that's just it. Like the
okay,
Forge
so they're attacking.
represent kind of infinite card advantage. You kind of have to get there.
Yep. No, I think given like how I think I would have attacked this game, that's just me personally. Like I think they'd be dead at this point. I think they would have been like at 3 to 4 less life, and like
it is worth mentioning that like when you're at 2 life, Campbell does put a big dent in what you can cast off of Forge, right? Like for example, right now you can't cast Experimental Frenzy, or you will literally die.
Yeah, or equipment. Well, there's this Experimental Frenzy. It's great.
Practically anything.
Well, the creatures are fine. I mean, like now they have to play to the ultimate of the Antiquities War. They have to play to it, and I don't think they can. Maybe they use the artifact lands to block. They can't get hit by anything here. Their opponent's still going to be at 24 to 25.
Unless you want to die.
I mean, doesn't Bailite win on this turn? He can kill the Memnite.
No, he doesn't win
but
this turn.
Memnite is a 2/2.
There's 4 blockers available. There's 3 attackers.
Oh yeah, there's a 4th blocker anyway. Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out that also Liliana, because Liliana can't kill anyway. Can't kill anything.
And if someone has, all right, so Antiquities War is this. So they actually should block with the Mishra's Factory, save the flyer because it'll become a 5/5, activate it in response to trigger, and they can hit for 5 in the air. They're going to keep this Etch Champ around.
Yeah, I mean, the block is probably something. Etch Champ blocks the schools.
Actually, Bailite doesn't really have.
Yeah, Bailite doesn't have a good attack. Like Bailite's attack is. Schools and the champion bounce off of each other.
The Memnite's a 2/2. The Ornithopter.
The Memnite trades for the Finks,
the problem,
and the Mishra's Factory eats the combo. So like it's just
not
good attacks.
Well,
if you're fine with the factory, that's an option.
Well, the factory. So you block the ooze with the Etched Champion. The factory can become a 3/3, so it can block Campball. It just taps in response to blocks. Yeah. And then you block with like the Memnite on the. Oh, I'm sorry, block with the Ornithopter on the Goofy Finks, so it doesn't sack and it's still tapped. And then if you activate Mishra's Factory, which would still be alive in this case, plus the Blink Moth Nexus, you still have Memnite around, and you have the Etched Champion still around. That's 20, plus the Mystic Forge is 25 damage.
Skull Time is notably very bad here, actually, because it doesn't really do anything. Because if you just like froze in a creature, that's the
an option you have here is actually equipping up the Kitchen Finks, attacking, forcing a block to draw some cards and build some information.
Well,
for
he's not going to block with
and then it needs to be blocked, and it will die in blocks unless Ornithopter blocks it. Maybe Ornithopter just blocks at that point.
In that case, if you can Leon target your own creatures?
Yeah. But the reason you do that is because it puts you at 25, and we know that there's a creature in at least one of the yards. There's a Revoker.
Yeah.
So you go to 26, and then you actually stay alive to the board. That's a line you could take, but like then they can block with Ornithopter. But like I don't know that they do. They probably just block. Maybe you have to block, but like. All right, so they have how much power flying? 10.
Interesting. He didn't crit the Skull Clamp. Why didn't he skip Skull Clamp?
Ooze activations.
Good point.
Yeah. There's a Gal Blast, but that cannot be cast.
The third whose activation is the difference.
So you leave your red mana open and probably just activate all of this nonsense. And if you slam, you hit them for a lot. Mystic Forge is only artifacts though, so it doesn't actually work
Yeah,
Mystic
one
Galvanic
artifact.
Blast.
with
Galvanic
Gal
Blast
Blast.
can't be cast for like a variety of reasons. A, it will literally kill Pronoun. B, it's on top of the deck.
Not post blocks though, because like if they have to block here. So this is I forgot the Meta Knight's a 6/6 too. So like they have 3 blocks here. Bailite can go up to what 25 or so with the ooze. If they block 3 of these, they're taking what 15, which is not quite good enough, but you can at least trade with everything on the board.
Yeah, but he's gonna
Except
have a phase afterwards.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you attack with everything. I'm thinking through the line because like it's possible.
So, Memlet can go to 26, which is
He also
relevant
has a
because
mirror-
it's the difference between because 5 and 6 hits, right?
Well, we have
It's
Mirror
pretty
Enforcer,
nice.
which is also castable here. So Mirror
Yeah.
Enforcer actually does
Then
cast here. So I
Slap
think you
that
attack with all.
down.
I think you attack with all, and then force them to trade, and then play the Mirror Enforcer afterwards, and then draw into Galvanic Blast to finish off his opponent.
While it's definitely unlikely, and I'm not seeing it happening, it's weird they didn't choose to play an Enforcer prior.
I don't think I would play it prior because it's going to build information for Bailite to
That is
determine how they
true.
want to block.
But if
None
he's
of
gonna-
his,
if
none
he's
of,
gonna
none
grow
of,
the-
none of,
oh,
none of his
but
creatures
can
are
he grow
going to die,
the
right?
ooze? How much can he grow the ooze? That's the question.
Yeah.
Because if you can grow the ooze to 6/6, then he should probably play the Enforcer.
The thing is, they don't really want to lose the Camball because they see this Gal Blast on. Actually, they don't see the Gal Blast.
They don't see it. They don't see it.
They don't see it. I forget Mystic Forge is not a reveal. It's just we can see it because they put it down there for us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
That's-
think Bailite is gonna go to Galvanic Blast range anyway. Ooze
Yeah,
is
but on
gonna
the follow-on-
Ooze is gonna be
Unlikely.
Hammer 6/6. It's gonna kill the
Like
Mystic
currently
Forge.
he's taking 10.
Yeah, but the follow-on attack is legit.
The
follow-on
creatures
attack-
will go back to their sizes.
Yeah, I'm tracking. I'm
Yeah.
tracking. But we're losing most of the board here, right?
Ooze will stay around, Finks will come back, and
No,
those are the
Ooze
only
is
blocks.
trading.
So they will just
Wait.
downgrade the Finks.
Oh yeah, it's surviving.
Because
then.
Ooze is a 6/6.
Yeah.
So the attack wasn't actually that bad. He lost,
Yeah, this is.
what, like 9 life points. He lost 11 points of life, but then gained 2 back. And then the Mystic Forge is dead
Oh
now.
right, he had that additional land drop. That's why I was like, I couldn't make
Yeah.
sense how he could.
The Mystic Forge is dead now, which is nice.
I don't know how much. There is such a low life total. It's not like it's giving you one more card to play with off the top, and if it's a non-creature, it's pretty. I mean, it's better than not have. It's better to have it than not have it. But I don't know how much it was doing on this board state. I think it was still nice to attack with.
With an argument. to kill
What
off
does
the,
this Eternal Witness do?
I think Eternal Witness is just game. Get back remove spell, win the game. But he's
Yeah,
still-
probably true.
He's in the Ana. That doesn't do it.
There is Cast Down in the graveyard.
Cast
Yeah.
true.
Just cast down
The
the
Demon
Mirror
Mother
Enforcer and slam.
Yeah.
Probably Mirror
Yeah.
Enforcer. It's the biggest thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, kind of close games. Like I think this last one, I think there was probably different ways to play it on both sides. But it was a close game, right? Like both players' decks kind of performed. I don't want to put it like their median qualities like came out, and you kind of got to see a decent game. The first game was kind of a ranching. The second game, I think, probably had a little bit more of a hopeful hand on the Pronoun side, and it was kind of a ranching on the other side. But that last game was pretty good. So we're watching Loading in Evermist. Evermist, I don't know what they're on. It looks like it's some sort of like red green.
Is Loading not on
Tempo deck.
mono red today? Interesting.
No, Loading's on a black mid-range deck. It's a pretty interesting brew. I actually checked out the list. I played them a couple times the other day with my Esper list, and they were playing this list. It's got a lot of graveyard recursion matters creatures and a lot of value creatures, but like it has kind of a weird like plan with like using recursive creatures like Bloodsoaked Champion, Gravecrawler type stuff. And it actually has wrath effects in it, which is going to probably make it better in like these mid-range mirrors in a weird sort of way. And then against like blue decks, because like it has spells that like you can counter, but you don't really counter because they just come back from the bin.
Well, that's quick.
Okay, well that was that was the end of the game. So Loading got him. We have any other games up? You really get to see
No,
what
I think
Evermist
that
is
was
on.
the last game of match 1. So
All
I'm
right.
gonna bring us back to the booth.
Cool. How long do you think it'll be until we're set up for the next game to go?
5 to 10 minutes. I need to like just input the results. And
Yeah.
if you need to go take care of something, you can go. It's,
yeah, I'm gonna take care of something on my end. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Probably like 2. All right.
Yeah, take your time. I'll hang out with whoever is in the booth, with whoever makes it to the buy this time. All right. Speaking of which, let's see what the results are. We got okay. Let's see tournament discussion. There you go. Badwolf wins 2-1. Congratulations in his match against SecretPipesman. And then we have Gozmit wins 2-1 because obviously it's Gozmit. I don't know why I even considered it doing otherwise. And then we have we watched Bailite win 2-1 against Pronoun.
We have Blahguy.
Blahguy wins
2-0.
2-0 over Card. And
Loading versus Evermist 2-1.
All right, folks.
did Loading win 2-1 or 2-0? Sorry.
Loading wins 2-1.
Sweet. All right. We got pairings for round 2.
Gozmit, are you playing today?
Yeah, correct. I am.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, man. I just jump into the booth and like talk about the game, man.
Oh no, I just had a real quickie.
All right.
Was your first one? Your first one
definitely.
was pretty quick. How'd it go?
It went mostly smoothly. I got kind of crushed the first game by some green ramp, and then the following 2 games, I put on the pressure.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I actually
Despite
think-
Veteran Explorer dying in both second and third game, I surprisingly won against the green ramp deck.
giving red deck wins, basically like 2/3 of a Black Lotus for free
Yeah.
is dangerous business, right?
It is.
Um,
It's either
yeah.
like you either destroy them after slamming down the frag cells and stuff, or you just
Yeah.
destroy.
No, I think it's weird. It's weird, right? Because like those, it's kind of in a way similar to like the artifact aggro matchup we just watched. Like, if you're able, like Red has probably the best disruption suite in the game because its disruption is clock and also deals with the board to keep the board open for your little dummy creatures like Jacklers and Jackal Pups and whatnot. But being able to actually just like nug out a lot of their mana dorks and limit their hyper mana strategy, can oftentimes, I think, in that matchup, honestly, put red at a less disadvantageous position than a lot of folks would think, looking at like the matchups with green versus red style of decks. So I don't know. It's just my take on it. I think it's more favored against like the Hoof style decks than like you would initially think. And it's just a great deck. I mean, red deck wins.
I am gonna jump over to my own game, and
Alright,
I wish you guys good luck.
All right, you as well, man. Have fun playing your game.
I was really tempted to do the Ardenish Derby for the feature, but I'm really curious about this brew that you're talking about with loading. So I think I will.
Oh, with loadings, Bill? We'll check it out, man.
We'll be watching loading versus versus.
Yeah,
Badwolf.
it's a really interesting deck. Like it's so like I asked him for a list the other night because I played against it twice with like I was saying Esper, and I was able to get them both times. So I don't think it's a good matchup for them. I think like big control is going to be good. It's not how I build, which is why I was initially very curious about the deck because I'd see like a Carnophage and then I'd see a Toxic Deluge, which like threw me, and I was like, what are they doing? And,
what is going on here?
Well, I'm not saying it's wrong either. Like because it's not something I do.
But it is
because that's something I do doesn't mean it's wrong. Like I was curious. I'm like, hey, well, how you building this? Because like I thought it was like Stewie Black, and I was like, what's going on? Like, I played a Batterskull out and it got like Damnation. I'm like, well, I'm gonna put it back on the board.
Like, it's not exactly a combination of card that you see in the same deck.
I just didn't expect it, right? So it shocked me, and I was like, I kind of want to see your deck. I want to see how you're doing, what you're doing. And it's definitely an interesting deck. I mean, I think it probably will have some coherence issues as games go on. But what it does have going for it, you can tell they're like the sort of builder that like wants to have answers to stuff. Like they have some weird cards in there, like Sadistic Sacrament. Like Cling to Dust is not a weird card. It may seem like a weird card. That's a really good card.
Oh, it's insane. It's crazy.
It's very good. It's a very good card. Like it's just good in every kind of matchup. And like in Highlander, for folks who aren't as familiar with the format, like graveyards matter a lot. Even if you're just a silly control deck, like you want to have your Delve, you want to have your Snapcasters, you don't want your Ancestral Recall to get exiled because you want a Mystic Sanctuary it. And then there's like the degenerate decks like Storm, where it's just like you just get utter ranched, because they can use their bin as a resource. It's basically an additional hand zone with like 50 cards in it, So like graveyards really do matter, and like the card like Cling to Dust is not one that like I typically like would assume would be in like a more aggressively sided deck, but it's in there. You have like Beckon Apparition, which is like a tech card that like you don't see all that often. It has some interesting like kind of like gotcha cards. Ashiok Nightmare Render, the new Ashiok, the one that like doesn't allow you to tutor. But then it has like grave crawlers and stuff, and I was just like I was really thrown by how it was built. It's cool.
So it's a black like mid-range ish list.
So the way I would best describe it is being black aggro control. The one thing that it does kind of have as a commonality, like mono black aggro control, because it's not really mid-range. But the one commonality it does have between most of its creatures, but like not all, because like you have like some stuff like Brain Maggot, like Carnophage, Bitter Blossom, they like don't really work well with the wraths. But you have a lot of recursive creatures, so you can like wrath over the top of your own creatures and then just bring them back slowly from the bin. So it's just a weird deck. It's really weird. It's very atypical, I guess. I don't want to call it weird because it sounds bad, but it's just atypical in how it's built. It definitely has a lot of I gotcha cards that I think are probably better in a more unfair metagame. From what I have seen of the 10th point in general, it's not a very unfair metagame.
Frostwalk Bastion, I love that card.
Yeah, it's a good one. When you're playing monocolored decks too, I mean, you get to play all those cool like creature based.
I've been playing that card in Blue Moon. I've been pretty happy with it, honestly. It's just
No, I don't know about Blue Moon. I mean, you're playing moons in that deck. Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, my reasoning is simply that like I found that the deck actually like Manlands quite a bit, just as a way to like have a cheap blocker that doesn't cost you as lot, and this card activates for only 2 mana, which is really good. And
I tended to find that the colored requirements are too heavy in that deck.
I fixed the hand cam. I'm fixing the names in a second. Sorry.
Okay. So I'll be interested to see how they play. This is a Planeswalker deck versus black mid-range. The land and hand attack is going to be pretty good here. Like, it's not that it's not really possible to know if you're in. Oh, actually, we're flip-flop too. The hand cams.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fixing the hand cams.
Loading's hand's interesting. Like, the question becomes if you hit your additional black source, do you go for Wrench Mine first or do you go for Sinkhole first? Like, there's your Sadistic Sacrament, which is not really a card you want in this matchup.
Not really, no.
He goes
You've
for
been
Sinkhole
talking
first,
about like
which, honestly, like I think they couldn't know like what I played Badwolf, Munwolf quite a bit. I know their deck. It's very slow. It's like basically take Bailite's build of Abzan and then just put in all Planeswalkers. So it's like relying on getting to 4 mana, which seemingly like would normally support going for a Sinkhole first. But I actually like against their deck specifically like the Wrench Mine first because their most likely discards are probably going to be like a land and a spell. And then when you hymn them on the next turn, you can really color screw them. They're going to cling here.
There is like when they had Ellison on North 100, she is a rock expert, and basically the way that she described the deck is that there are two main ways of building it, which is creature rock and planeswalker rock, and basically these Abzan decks are based on the respective version, Bailites and Badwolf, but adding white. That's the base they use.
Sure. I mean, they're very similar in nature. I would say they're more
still rock-ish deck, right? Like they're still
kind of, yeah. Their builds are definitely more controlling. They're much more similar to the rock. I would say that like creature rock is a vastly different animal than non-creature rock. Like Yeah, Sadistic Sacrament's not what you want to be doing in this matchup. It is what it is. You got what you got, but like this Damnation is not going to be great here either. Really, you just want to apply pressure against Badwolf.
I mean, that is kind of the problem of playing a deck that is as...
it's techie.
Yeah.
It lacks coherence. It's got some varied cards.
It's unfocused. That's what I was trying to do. Like,
it
lacks
lacks
coherence.
coherence.
Trying to do this deck is trying to, like, do all of these things at once, and that sometimes you draw A when you want B, and...
Yep. That's kind of why I call it.
What do you even
Aggro
call
control
these?
Deck. Just mono black midrange is what I would call it.
I'm gonna call it black tech.
I just call it black midrange. That's what it is. It's a black midrange deck. Maybe black aggro control. I don't know.
Sure,
it's a bizarre deck. It's got some varied cards. So we're gonna see a Liliana here, which honestly is not if loading draws most of the creatures that they have in the deck, it's not really a huge problem for them. Because they have a lot of recursive things. They have like an Infest and a Damnation hand, which I guess at this point they also have the creature land too, which can just attack. Damnation is bad in this matchup. If folks were not aware, I believe Badwolf plays a couple monarchy creatures, but like not many.
Badwolf has his own Damnation probably in the deck somewhere, right?
Oh, they do. They do for sure. I don't know that they for sure have Damnation there, but they have effects like it. I've played against them a significant bit. The other thing that I've never I tend to be more in favor of playing more mid-range style Abzan decks. So I guess you call it the Creature Rock, but when it's Creature Rock, it's I just don't even call it the Rock anymore because it doesn't really play like it. You play more.
I mean, it's more of a question of are you playing cards because this quote unquote Creature Rock deck is often playing stuff like
Recurring Nightmare.
Yeah,
but it's a vastly different deck. It's a value-oriented deck that has more tempo lines and less lines to generate inevitability. It's less a control deck, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you just have more ways to generate. It's the nature of running more creatures, right? That you have a lot more...
You can kill people.
Yeah,
faster.
You can kill people.
I mean,
I thought for a second that loading had drawn the hard serrated arrows, and I was what in the world? But that's not so.
No,
that's a rack.
Yeah,
that's not good with Liliana in play.
It's not good with Liliana in play, and with Badwolf only having one card in his hand.
Yeah, which is a Garruk, but Garruk's kind of hard to attack with a 2/3, right? We put the old rack art up. Is that the fourth head art? No, it's time shifted art.
It's the same art, right?
The border's wrong. The border's wrong. I'm just kidding. The border's fine.
No, it's the same print. It's a different print. It's the same. Also, it has intelligible Oracle text on top of it, as opposed to what does even the original rack say? Let me see what the text on Alpha.
It says if you have less than 3 cards, you start taking damage.
Basically,
Funeral Charm's not a great card, but it's pretty good here.
Yeah, took care of the Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, and if they don't, they could have just discarded their only threat. But I mean, you kill the Noble Hierarch. Mana's more relevant for them, and this rack is just, this is great, right?
It's a continuous artifact.
Yeah, it is. Loading's deck does a lot of different stuff. But the thing with that is being able to do a lot of stuff leads to coherence issues we were talking about before. But the other part to it is that folks just don't know what the fuck you're doing. Excuse the language. So you can really you can just really get people with it because they're I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to beat. I don't know what to do.
What is even happening? Is this deck gonna just kill? Gonna have
7 cards in deck. I think you attack the. I don't know if I blow that up now. I think I would just attack the Garruk first, because now they make Death Touch ones. I think you wanted to actually attack, force them to block. If they block, this Garruk's doing nothing. If the Garruk is just making 2/2s every turn and they're blocking, it's just a force field. And you're taking damage off the rack. So I actually like saving the Cabal Pit to force a block this turn. If they block, when they make their next 2/2, you can get rid of it. Or, I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter that much.
It's going to probably kill Badwolf in a few turns. You just need to keep applying pressure.
Just keep attacking their face.
Yeah.
You have to attack the Garruk now, I think. If you attack the Garruk before, you put it to 1. If they block, they're kind of in the same spot, right? Because they could just take to the Garruk right now, and then make 1/1s that have Death Touch. All right, they get to draw again. I mean, you still attack. You probably just go to face here.
Yeah, just want to do face. You're just
isn't
banking on
feeling
this
the
rack
face.
to kill your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Also, giving them a free tutor on board is probably not great.
Yeah.
I have no clue why Frostwalk Bastion turns into an artifact.
Wait, it does?
I actually didn't know it did.
Yeah, it turns into a construct.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense.
I know generally what the card
yeah.
does, but I don't know the types on it. I was just like, it's a thing that they basically Frost Titan stuff. They block it. It's a tutor.
I think
coolest
that the
thing
story is that they built like a fortress inside of like an old, like an old Phyrexian artifact here, because that's like kind of the story behind Cold Snap, right? That there's all of these like old Phyrexian, abandoned Phyrexian constructs that they're cannibalizing the technology of. So, and like, so that's what happens. It's just like, you wake up the dude, and now it goes around.
I know everything I know about MTGO lore or MTG lore. I know from like periphery, from like hearing it from other people. So you know what? Like that story's 100%. I buy it. Like, I don't know.
I would also buy it.
All right. Fatal Push is a hell of a draw.
Yeah. But it does
Pretty
take
good.
another cat out of Badwolf hand, and now they're gonna take more rack damage.
It means the rack is gonna keep getting them. It also builds up their graveyard so they can cling to dust. If they hit another card, they can put in the bin, which is not irrelevant because it means just more card draw.
Yeah.
You probably keep your lands in hand. I mean, like a Hymn to Turek or like a Wrench Mind, like any of those style effects.
Yeah. Wrench Mind would indeed wrench.
But again, like the coherence issues. I mean, they could just draw like a random damnation, too. I mean, so like it's hard to tell like what will happen here because like again,
Henny's expertise. Let's go.
Okay, I do like this line. I like this line. There it is. Yeah, there's a Henny's expertise. I like this line because what they're gonna do is make a tutor out of their Garruk to actually find something relevant to probably gain lifelink. The problem is, it's just going to die to this Yahenni's expertise, which I think you 100% just kill.
Oh, Pocket!
1/1.
Pocket's a good draw.
Yeah, that's a card that does it. I honestly kind of like just expertising here, throwing the rat into play, and like going to town with it next turn.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah, well, you get him off a tutor, too.
Yeah.
You know, they have to draw into another creature and then sack another creature.
Because now your rat's also offline, right? Like,
I don't know what they find here, even. Like, what do you find? Like a Palace Jailer? Because they don't have a ton of creatures in their deck. Could just be a Jailer to get on cards to stay off the rack.
Yeah, I mean, rack's already offline, right? Like,
you also have Cling to Dust.
Badwolf has drawn 75 billion cards, 75 billion lands this game.
Well, they can't activate and tutor, but they're only going to have 1 mana left. But I don't think they play 1-drops in this deck.
Loading Drew a Packrat.
Yeah, a little while ago, yeah.
No, he just drew a Packrat.
No, he just drew another Packrat. It costed 3 mana.
Yeah. Actually, of note, you can also Cling to Dust here.
Yeah.
I think you do just Cling to Dust to see if you can find a Fatal Push or like a Disfigure or whatever.
He drew a Packrat.
Kill them.
Wait, he played it?
Yeah.
Why do you play the land there?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm a little delayed because I'm watching on the actual stream. So I don't know. I think you would normally save it, but...
Let me just see if I can...
Alright, well, this trades off. Yeah, I like just holding... I mean, they're going to get to tutor and possibly find, like... I don't know. Like, what do you find here? I think it's really just, like, Jailer and, like, other Monarchy cards. I don't think there's, like, Siege Rhinos in the deck.
So I sent you an invite link to the phone call. Can you join it in? If you click on it, can you join it in some way? Because then maybe you can see the hands.
I see the hands. I'm just a little delayed. I'm like probably I'm
sending you the links because the calls are not delayed. So like I don't know if you can join it. If you can't join it, you can't. But if you
all right, I'll jump into it.
Yeah, just try clicking on it and see if it helps. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But
I've stumbled onto some vintage tech. Evidently, according to my computer. that never bodes well. Oh, I've stumbled onto more vintage tech. It opened up Internet Explorer.
Oh God.
What?
I'll look at it later. I'm not a Google person. Like I do have a Google account God save me.
Because everybody does.
Yeah.
Eternal
Gmail
Witness
or
is a
whatever.
good draw.
Eternal Witness probably getting Liliana. What'd you think?
We'll see.
I feel like
Getting the
Lodin playing that land might end up actually costing him pretty dearly because you you have enough mana to make 2 Pakrat. So hold on to the land. Next time you can go Pakrat.
An Elspeth Sun's champion, which if you go too ham on the rats may kill you.
Just kill
They're
all
3
of them.
life though, and they already tutored this turn. They're gonna be able to make a 1/1 Death Toucher. If they can't make a 1/1 Death Toucher, they're actually just dead to the board.
Yeah.
They make a
This is
Brain Maggot. No, wait. Oh, no, wait.
He's just dead on
Lodin
board.
drew a Brain Maggot. No, wait. It's a Pakrat.
No,
I lied.
It's a background. They're Dobbs though. Like this line of play leaves you Dobbs. It was probably the best they could do. I'm not saying they played it incorrectly. It's probably just the best they could do. They attack with all, make a pack rat, and win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hope that your opponent doesn't draw a Pakrat, but every card in their deck is a Pakrat.
But in all honesty, like this is some very bad post hoc rationalization of playing that land out.
Yeah.
If they had drawn an Elspeth or something like that, it would have actually been worse because they all would have been 4/4s and gotten exiled by Elspeth.
Oh yeah,
They
for
could have
sure.
played her.
No, yeah.
But that's not the right line of play. But yeah, like I mean, the deck gets there. They definitely get there. Like I was saying, like before, like having played them, like they do have some very like differing cards that generally are attributed to different strategies, which can definitely take folks by surprise. Like you see this hand, it's got Sadistic Sacrament, Reanimate, Bitter Blossom, and Snuff Out, which is like
the shoutouts to that hand goes to the rack, right? The rack dealt what, 17 damage to.
Well, the hand didn't have the rack. We drew the rack, which was a great draw, but. So this Phyrexian Revoker, which is an underplayed card in a lot of black decks, in my opinion, has the opportunity to shut off this Mana Crypt, which is going to be a big game, in my opinion.
Right, because Revoker doesn't say except for mana abilities. Right?
I think
it can't
here, though,
so
there's a couple of shortages in Munwolf's hand. One of them is green mana, so they're not going to be able to Nature's Lore here. Per se. So playing out the Crypt makes sense if you're worried about, like hand attack. All right, they're just going to blow the rack up. All right, the rack is dead.
They're worried about it.
Well, but the issue with this line of play, like this Revoker is just going to house Munwolf's hand, unfortunately, because like it's very dependent on Crypt mana. I hope we're playing it. You should.
They drew another land.
Yeah, you should have definitely played the Revoker there to turn off the Crypt, I think. It's not a land that matters, though. That's a land that casts Kitchen things.
It's true.
They can Fatal Push it down to a 2/1. Or they can wait and try to Fatal Push something like Malicious Affliction, like 2 things. But like, there's not a lot of creatures, so like, I don't think you're going to get a lot of Malicious Affliction equity in this game. And it's not like it has like a rebound where it can like deal cleanly with the Finks. Oh no! Card interactions. You got to fetch first. The Revolt trigger is not going to work here. Oh wait, no. Yeah, no. They biffed up their Fatal Push. That's very unfortunate. I don't think it's going to matter as much this game. Like, but it'd be better to have had it work. Probably just charm them here. But I think the right line of play was definitely getting that Revoker down and just turn it off that Crypt.
Probably.
But now they're repping like a Swords to Plowshares. Plus, it puts pressure on them. Oh, play out your Revoker. Just turn off that damn Crypt. If they draw any land, they're going to land this Ugin, and then like you're not winning the game. You're just not winning against that unless you draw like land, Hero's Downfall. But like, I guess I'm a bad backseat driver.
Is your Knight of Autumn? Not the best thing in this case, but it is a body.
It can't be cast. It costs green mana. They don't have.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
It blows up their Crypt, which is probably the most relevant thing. I think the Crypt should have already been shut down, but they've kind of faded variants on the opposing side to draw mana sources. All right, let's just. They want to kill this thing. I think I did. Oh, play out the Revoker. Come on, just kill their mana.
Yeah, I don't know why the Revoker wasn't played there.
I think because they know they're on a Planeswalker deck and like they want to save it for Planeswalker equity. But I think you just nug their mana out early, so they're not casting their walkers. And at this point, you would have had 2 additional damage in. I don't know.
Deathrite. Deathrite comes down, letting him cast Ugin next turn.
Yeah. Also makes green mana, so Knight of the Autumn is relevant because if Knight of the Autumn gets cast, you can blow up Revoker, which unlocks, again, the Mana Crypt.
Mana Crypt, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, you play the Deathrite and just name, or I'm sorry, play the Fresh Revoker and just name, like, to keep consistent, they really want to save this Revoker. I don't think it's going to serve them well. Like, I think you have to act as the aggro deck in this matchup. Just given what you saw, like, that Gideon ally of Zendikar is going to ruin someone's whole career.
Ugin comes down.
I think I would just Gideon here. I think Gideon's probably...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that Gideon was going to be a better choice, but...
Just kill him. Yeah, I mean, Gideon just, like, kills people. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so goddamn strong. Like, Ugin's good too.
Revoker comes down, probably naming Ugin, I'm expecting.
Yeah, but then you get ranched by Knight.
You get ranched by Knight of Autumn.
Yeah.
Actually, there are no lands in graveyards right now.
Okay.
So Badwolf's Deathrite Shaman can't make mana.
Yeah, but they're dealing with they're drawing 2 a turn, right? Because they have these stupid 2/2s.
True.
So, you know.
You need to engineer an accident for the 2/2s before they actually draw you the card. But,
I think at this point in the game, we're hoping for Mana Crypt flips to go wrong.
Well, he drew the Woodland Cemetery, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's them drawing a land is, again, like they're a landed deck.
more Ugins. Wow. Great.
More Ugin.
Yeah, it's an Ugin.
Additional Ugins. Just what you needed.
I concede to that. I don't know about you guys. I concede to.
Oh yeah, no. I've been already like playing.
Unless I'm on like
3.
I'd be midway through game 3 by now.
Yeah.
Unless I'm on Time Vault or like Storm, like I concede to Ugins. If I'm on Storm or Time Vault, I'm pretty happy to see them using their time to cast an Ugin because it means I get like 2 more turns until I'm dead. But yeah. For it. At a minimum, if they have a land drop this turn, they can kill off the small Ugin.
He did indeed kill off the small Ugin.
Mm-hmm. Now you have to like Mise, like pretty specifically like Hero's Downfall or like Vampire Hex Mage. Vraska's Contempt would do it, which I'm pretty sure is in the build. I don't think they're on Ruinous Path. This really is a crypt flip game. Like
you would play. I mean, Zwiftend would do it. What's his name? A Murderous Rider, I guess, is the.
Yeah, that card's in there too. Yeah, that card's in there. They have quite a few ways to kill Planeswalkers, but I think this is just like this is going to be a
Murderous
Gideon.
Rider is just so good. Like the card is.
Yeah. I don't think it's on the level of Brazen Burrower or the Giant Stomp.
No, it's not as good as either of those cards, but it's still an amazing card.
It's easily the 3rd best in that cycle of cards, which are all...
Yes.
All 3 of those are playable by a lot. In a very wide array of archetypes, too, mind you, because, I mean, they're card advantage.
Yeah. They're just 2
for pretty much free. Yep, they're card advantage, so you generally play cards
Oh, no, my removals... I got a removal spell, which is only a little bit worse. Oh,
okay.
This...
You get rid of the Knight.
Zombie... Oh, he opted the Kalitas. The Lifeline Zombie would have absolutely knocked the Knight of Autumn.
Well, in here, like... I mean, you couldn't know they have Knight of Autumn in hand to blow up their own crypt.
But like,
at this
point that's
game,
kind of how Lifeline Zombie works, right? You just have to cast it because it's a 3/1 with...
Intimidate.
Yeah. Intimidate, and then
it can be favorably blocked by Deathrite Shaman, though. Okay. They finally conceded. They're like, I'm done. Yeah. That game was pretty over. I do think if we had seen an earlier Revoker, that game could have ended differently based on how Crypts flipped out. We also had an unfortunate misclick on Fatal Push. I think they knew what they were trying to do, but they just didn't fetch beforehand.
Ooh. So potentially they get to open on... Loading has a hand that is pretty stuck with hand attack. I'm assuming we're going to see Dark Ritual Lifebane Zombie here. Lifebane Zombie can't take anything. here, but then you have Cabal Therapy to follow it up that will be able to take something.
Most likely either the Elspeth or the Karn.
Yeah, either or.
No, I think here I would take the
Farseek?
Farseek. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, very easily. Because how do you block the
Yeah, I
light
mean,
bangs out?
the Lifelink Zombie can pressure
Yeah.
the Planeswalkers really easily, right? Like, so.
They're also short on mana, so like, what are they gonna do?
I think I agree. You take the Farseek because again, you can pressure the Planeswalker really easily, and the first black creature that they play or artifact creature that they play, you can defile. So you can even clear the way for this thing for a little farther.
The best way to beat decks like the one that Badwolf's playing is to just kill them. It really, it sounds stupid
strategy.
to say.
Just kill them
but
dead.
it's just kill them. Like, just fucking kill them. You know, you don't, like, you're not going to outvalue, like, 20 plus planeswalkers. Like,
just murder them.
The only way you do outvalue them is by playing blue decks. Like, like blue decks will beat them. Like, ancestral decks will outvalue these decks over a long game. As long as you don't get swamped early.
Ancestral 4 times across the game, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, like, the best thing you can do on, like, a deck like that, like Abzan Walkers, against, like, blue is, like, high roll one of your Moxen, turn 2 a 3-mana Planeswalker, put them on the back foot, turn 3 a 4-mana Planeswalker, and then just, blow them out. But even from that position, like, they can still win, right? But, like, it makes the bar a little higher. So this Path to Exile is interesting. They haven't been drawing gas. They started off on a mana light hand. I think we're just going to see this thing get pathed now.
Yeah, I think this thing gets pathed. And that's actually, like, Loathing doesn't have a ton in the way of pressure anymore, right? Like, did I miss something or something?
But, like, their deck's playing stuff like Massacre Worm. So, like, they do have Massacre Worm in their deck. So, like, ramping them, like...
Every time that you see a new card that Loathing has in their deck, I'm like, wait, what?
It's a good card. Yeah. I checked the list out the other day because I was, like, really curious. Like, it has a lot of, like, varied cards, right? Like, okay, that was a good draw. That allows you to get a Planeswalker out this turn if you'd like. Yeah. The long-term damage could be problematic.
Yeah, it's only one. I'm 100% for dropping Mana Bolt into
here's what I want to see happen in this game. Like, this is just me personally. It's not a prediction of what could happen, but, like, here's what my predictive analysis says. We're going to see an Elspeth come down, try to close the game out. We could see a Karn, but, like, I think Elspeth's more correct here generally. All right, we're going to see a Karn. Like, I was hoping it was Elspeth, and then, like, we allow Elspeth to kind of, like, go rampant and make, like, 10/1/1s, and then, like, we just top deck a Massacre Worm. Like, I do think Elspeth's legitimately more correct, because you have this Sorin as a kicker to follow it up on the next turn, which makes your attackers lifelinkers and bigger. But,
so
I mean...
Here's a question. Yeah. What non-basics does Loading have in his deck that might be problematic for Wasteland? Like, that he might want to Wasteland? Yeah, that matter. Obviously, he's got fetches.
Creature lands. I mean, not a ton. Not a ton.
What is the black creature land from the Fairy Enclave cycle? Is it any good?
It's the Drudge Skeleton. Something Marsh. Or Swamp. Yeah, it's a 1/1 Drudge Skeleton, is what it is.
Something Marsh of Swamp. Let me see if I can.
It's a not Peat Bog. It's a 1/1 Regenerator. Is what it is. It's really bad.
I found Piranha Marsh. That's a land.
Yeah, Piranha Marsh is an old World Gorger land. It's the one that does 2 damage or 2 life loss when it enters, so you can World Gorger it.
They lose 1 life.
1 life. All right, whatever.
Yeah, it's played in. It used to be played in World Gorger. Now they play the Desert.
Yeah, it's not that good. It's a combo card.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like waiting
that card because it deals 1 damage to them once. You play that card because it deals 1 damage to them 20 times after it enters the battlefield.
I think Loading's losing this game hard enough that I actually like not getting rid of the Elspeth and saving my Cabal Therapy to sack my 2/2 post attacks on the next turn to use Skull Clamp on it to draw into more cards. It's a different approach to the game. Like, you're not going to get the Elspeth, but, like, again, like, Massacre Worm's a draw they could have. They have Infest. They have Infest variants. They have Yeheni's Expertise. So, like, dealing with a bunch of 1/1s is not, like, that problematic for their deck. But, yeah, I think the extra cards here would have been more relevant. Just my take. At this point, this game's over, I think. Karn's going to get too many cards.
The black manland from the Fairy Enclave Sahol is Bold Spawning Pool.
That's it. Yeah, it's a skeleton. It's a cool card. Well, there's Abrupt Decay, which is going to now take you off Skull Clamp, which is unfortunate. You probably wait on it, see if you can tie up their mana and equips. Yeah, loading unfortunately just drew too many lands here. I guess like they're not completely out of it. I mean, like I don't see how they get back into it unless like I don't think they have Gristlebrand. I know they have Runescar
Crafter, right?
That's a good one. Knock out a
That is a good
Planeswalker. I mean, it's just going to knock out Sorin, which is kind of an irrelevant card on this board because Sorin's like good with
Sorin
creatures,
doesn't
not
do
good with
anything.
like
Yeah.
walkers.
It offsets the mana vault.
But if you hit a reanimate, like you can just kill it off. You can also flash in your Raven Mind Sensor, which is going to get defiled in response. So I mean, there's that. They could Abrupt Decay the Plaguecrafter in response. They don't have enough mana to do it all, though. Abrupt Decay in response, and then force them to discard their last card.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to knock out the Sorin, which, again, like I don't think this card's that relevant.
Yeah, the only thing it does is offsets the damage of the mana vault.
I actually don't even think I like it in the deck, period, because you don't have enough creatures to really make it good. It's a creature
yeah,
card.
It feels like you just drain them for
Like,
one every turn.
Karn feels right. Like that card just feels,
Karn's
it's
great.
yeah. People play in Death and Taxes, which is a little more mid-rangey now, or can be. Go ahead and untap this thing. They're still going to be able to leave up their Abrupt Decay. All right, now they're drawing more lands. I mean, honestly, here if loading hits like a reanimate effect to just knock out this Karn and gets rid of their card engine, like maybe they can get back into it. That's why, like at this point, I kind of like starting to return some stuff, but I can't see their exiled zone to see if like there's relevant stuff in there. Because like if they can knock out this Karn, if they draw a way to kill the Karn, like all that stuff's just stuck. Well, we drew another land. I mean, at this point, their most expensive card, which I believe is Runescar Demon, to add onto the pile of cards that you wouldn't expect to see in their list, is actually castable.
I'm not even sure I play the 7th lander just because there is an argument that if you draw a Packrat, you want some fodder for it.
Well, they also have Runescar Demon in deck.
Yeah,
not that you couldn't play it
I
on the
know,
next
but
turn.
you can always
I know
like,
it's.
if I draw
I think it's pretty
an
low.
8th land, maybe I play the 7th,
Yeah.
but like
In a blue deck for sure, because you have like Brainstorm Jace, Latinam's Legacy,
yeah,
but
I feel
I don't
like
know.
you still have the option to just play land Runescar Demon if you top deck a Runescar Demon. It's not like that line isn't there.
I just think it's pretty low EV either way. I mean, it's probably it's not probably, it is technically correct to hold it in hand, I think, but like
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. They're like,
No.
14.9% to win this game instead of 15.1 or whatever.
I mean, it's not like Munwolf's going to play around much on the opposing side. Like, he's just going to be doing his thing because, I mean, Planeswalkers kind of just do their thing. They're not deeply interactive in nature.
Agreed.
And they have enough mana that, like, they're going to leave up, whatever interaction they have regardless. They could have possibly gotten to fire off an Inquisition, though, which wouldn't have been bad because, I mean, if you draw, like, Okay, well, that kills off the Karn. I don't know what you kill off here. I mean, you can't equip this thing with Skull Clamp, which is unfortunate. You probably just kill off the Karn. Yeah. So I mean, that's a thing that happened. So now, like, all those cards that were exiled are just gone, unless they have like an Obsidat's Aid or something like that to bring back their Karn.
I just wanted to mention to our viewers that if they want to sign up for next week, I just put up the poll for next week. So you can type !next poll in chat, and that's gonna get you to the sign up poll for next week. So you can just fill it up now if you want to. Since we're kind of in a slower game state at this point, while Badwolf manages to close things out.
I've seen people come back from worse positions.
Yeah, and if there is a huge comeback, but I just figured that since we're kind of since we're kind of in like at the moment a bit of a lull, I took the time to put the poll together, so you can go there and sign up if you feel like doing so. I also want to give a little bit of a reminder to people that yes, there is a lull. Thanks, Bailite. Oh yeah, no, I mean I don't want to like. Okay, Badwolf managed to win this game. if you like what we're doing, you would toss us a subscribe. That would be awesome. We would greatly appreciate it, and it would help us do more interesting things with the tournament in the future. I have again some ideas of how to do things, and they would be. I'm gonna stop talking now. Who else are we seeing play? Gozmit and Luca are still
at it?
battling, but
Let's get it up. What is Luca on today?
no, okay, never mind. The match ended. I don't know.
Okay,
We were
that's
just playing
it.
fun.
Oh, okay.
Like, they
We
were
were done.
like they had posted the result in the play lobby already. Like so I didn't know that why they were playing, but maybe okay. Anyway, enough
Because
of
it's
that.
fun.
So yeah, no, that's fair. I'm
actually
all for
helps
I'm all for
chance,
playing Magic the
goddamn.
Gathering. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. All right, so let me close the hangout calls here, and let's go to the tournament result arenas, which I swear I have open in a tab somewhere. There you go. Okay, so what did Bailite and Blahguy did? I missed that part. We have Badwolf 2-1. I do not know what Bailite and Blahguy did. I will figure that out.
Oh, Bailite's in chat. I mean, he can probably toss it up.
Yeah, Bailite 2-0 over Blahguy. There you go.
Yeah.
And, alright, we have a couple of drops, sadly, for this round.
Oh, that stinks.
So, yeah.
Well, glad folks could make it out for the part of the tournament they stayed for.
Yeah,
That's also
I mean, they
good.
were all in the lower brackets, people that just got a little
Are-
benched. And,
Are there any blue decks today? Or is it all non-blue? What is the SecretPipesman on?
I am on blue.
You're on blue, okay. I figured you...
On,
I mean, Arakasi, I'm assuming
blue,
is
black,
playing.
green.
Oh, Arakasi didn't show up.
I'm sorry, you got stepped on, bud.
Pipes was on combo.
What kind? A lot of
Flash
combo.
Hulk and
Oh, okay.
Oracle Demonic Consultation.
How's it doing so far? Is that like my build?
I don't know how his first game went, but I beat him
Okay.
fairly handily.
Okay.
Oh. Not quite enough people stay. Need one more person to stay to play a third round.
Yeah. Did Pipesman drop or are they still playing?
Pipes
dropped.
dropped.
Okay. I think they're habitually a tempo player. I think they actually picked up my my Flash Hulk list. I really like that list.
Yeah, he pulled it out at 1 health in game 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
really I think it's actually a really good deck. I do think I think it's a how do I put it? Like it has probably a higher median than some other decks in the format for like playing it. I'm not saying they're like not a good player, but like it's a deck that wants practice. It is a 2-card combo, like no doubt. Like 2-card combos generally, if you have like the Stone Nuts, they can win turn 1. But I think it's a deck that like it's one of those ones where like the more reps you get in with it, like the strong, like you're gonna have a lot bigger gains than like you would have with like a more like median style strategy like Red Deck Wins or like Jeskai Midrange or something like that. That just is a pile of very cohesive, cards and or high quality cards. Sort of in some ways like Storm, but it's less of a density based combo deck and more of like a combo control deck.
Yeah, in game 3, he lost to the fact I wastelanded one of his blue sources like 3 turns earlier. He had those in hand, and he was just off 1 blue mana to just win the game.
Yep. No, that combo is very. If Flash resolves, unless they have Stifle, it's pretty hard to stop it. It's
He had Thassa and Demonic Consultation in hand. But
okay. Yeah, he didn't have the actual Flash Hulk itself. Had the 2 operative pieces that Hulk finds.
Yeah, I stopped Hulk both, 2 out of 3 games.
How'd you stop it? You discard?
Thought Not Sealer.
Oh,
that is a good way of stopping it. They ain't coming back.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. That is a way to do it. Alrighty. So we're gonna have got Luca v. Munwolf. I saw a hand of a lot of blue and black cards, so I'm assuming Luca is on a blue-black base deck.
That's that's what that is accurate.
Mm-hmm. This blue-black ninjas.
Oh boy, that would be sweet.
Yeah, that's actually a deck that I recently probably 1.5, 2 months ago built and was playing for a bit and had a lot of fun with. It's a fun deck. It looks like it could be. It's got a lot of flash threats in it. Obviously, 2 flash threats, the Force of Will and their opener. They're on the 2 seed demonic consultation. Or sorry, Tainted Pact mana base, which is always fun. It's probably like a 2-color 5C blue mana base. So you're running like the off-color blue duels, at least the painless ones, the original duels. Your ABU duels, and then you get more fetch land opportunities. All right, Inquisition here. Yeah. What do you hit here?
I probably hit Badwolf's hand online. I'm having a little okay. He's sharing the hand. I'm having trouble showing it for whatever reason.
That's too easy. I'm just talking through the line. So Inquisition here, I would think probably takes Tainted Pact or the Black Lance. Black Lance is reasonable. I think Tainted Pact has more long-term impact against what Munwolf's up to. I like that take. Depends on their hand, though. I don't see it yet, but...
Okay, no.
It's on now.
Okay, Kitchen Finks. Honestly, against this deck, Kitchen Finks is, if you know what their deck is up to... Alright, so they're a bug deck, actually. Tarmogoyf's going to be a big lad. I think there's some credence to just Force of Willing the Finks here. It's walkers don't stand up well to a bunch of aggro control cards. I think, honestly, we could still definitely have some games here, but as far as, diatribing the actual matchup itself, tempo is going to tend to obliterate decks like Munwolf's. Efficient pressure and disruption.
Yeah, it's one of the matchups that you are designed. That when you shop with a tempo deck, this is one of the matchups that you want to see for sure.
Yep, you don't want to see Gozmit. You want to see Munwolf's.
Yeah, Arakasi showed up with the blue-black tempo deck. He called it Spectre Tempo. For basically the entire, and he won season 4 like that, right? And he will keep saying I just do not want to see mountains on the other side of the field. Just as long as I don't see mountains, I think this deck can beat anything. And
I think most of it's turbo aggro too. I think that may be a little ambitious. I play against Arakasi a lot. White aggressive is good against that deck. Even a bad deck like Suicide Black, I think is really good against that deck.
Yeah, I will admit that Mountain was a shorthand in that scenario.
Yeah,
certainly.
The games I had against Arakasi with Golgari, mostly I came out with just being able to keep slamming.
Yeah. Well, the deck's more mid-rangey too. The one that Arakasi plays, it's a little more mid-rangey because it's playing stuff along the lines of you easily counter this because you want to make your Goyf bigger and get more damage in. This will make it a 4/5 because you put a Walker in the bin. It's running 2 Moxen and it's split, so it's a little more focused on going fast, and/or casting bigger spells. Whereas I think most traditional tempo decks tend to kind of run the divide between Time Walk and Ancestral Recall. I tend to be an Ancestral Recall person.
Do you think that Opt is the correct pitch to Force of Will there, or would you rather pitch easy. The stupid bird?
Oh, yes.
Easy. Keep the bird. Bird's going to stop a fetch land if you need to. It stops a Finks trigger. It stops a Planeswalker ultimate. It pressures a Planeswalker. It just ends the game. And in this matchup, you just want to kill him.
I'm with you. I think I agree. I would have pitched the Opt there, but
yeah,
figured it
pretty
was
easy
worth.
pitch in my opinion. Yeah,
I find that
pitches
to Force of Will make for some of the most interesting decisions that I've had in, especially in Legacy, but also in Canadian Highlander.
Sure.
Where you end up in this situation where do I want to pitch this Ponder? Would I rather pitch this True Name Nemesis, which is definitely more impactful card, but getting it on the board is gonna be a little harder. So it's a whole. Anyway,
I think in general, Legacy probably has more interesting pitch decisions because they come up more often. And the matchups are more known quantities. Canadian Highlander has a lot of variance to it. And I think at the end of the day, when you have more variance in a format, maintaining a proactive stance in the game, maintaining momentum. Even if you're control, you can maintain momentum. How you do it is different than you do on an aggro control deck.
It's defensive momentum in a way.
So I think in general your deck makes more of the choices than like the matchup per se does in a format like this.
In limited, there is this. People often talk in limited about something called defensive speed, which is kind of the similar concept, right? Whereas, like, even if you're playing a control deck in limited, which sometimes you are, or at least a mid-range control deck, you end up in these situations where you still want a lot of cheap cards to be able... Like, your cheap cards look like 0-5s for 2, because you want good blockers, but it's a similar situation where, yeah, I still want to have access to these 2-drops, because they make they make it so that I can beat aggro decks, and that's kind of a similar idea of like making sure that you are able to keep the train going in terms of making sure that you stay in control of a game that you have control of. That can be very important.
It's maintaining inevitability in a game state, or achieving inevitability. Not that that's going to be relevant in this matchup unless Badwolf does it. Badwolf could achieve... Badwolf has playing the deck that will achieve inevitability. Luca's playing the deck that
he needs to achieve it first. He's relatively... Like, Luca has a relatively like threatening board with 5 power plus.
Well, in Scavenging Ooze is really relevant against Finks because it can stop the Finks trigger, essentially. Which is 2 life down the drain, another half card kind of dead. Especially because they know due to hand attack that there's a Blacklands Paragon, which is a lot of pressure not to be blocking. And my guess would be it probably will. It's not going to be a reactive card here. It'll be a proactive card in this matchup. That's one of the cool things about Blacklands, though. It's a decent attacker, and as a blocker, it's a Lightning Helix / Doomblade in blue-black, or in Bug, which is it's not irrelevant because it's a card that does kind of help. It tailors well to like to beating the decks that like will generally beat you, like the red aggressive decks, the white aggressive decks, etc. So, fighting blue-black there is, I guess you just need your other blue source, but it does take you down to 1 source that can find or that can be used for not kitchen things for the Scavenging Ooze. Which is not incorrect.
They look like they're not on blue-black. They're on the full bug. Yeah,
they're on bug. Yeah, they're on bug. My guess would be they're most heavily blue-black. It appears they're playing a tempo deck, so like most heavily blue-black, probably splashing Leovold, the Abrupt Decay Assassin's Trophy, Ooze, Tarmogoyf, like probably more limited.
The activation on that Red Shaman, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, probably a little more than that, but I mean, like green's their lightest color. So yeah, Finks is going to stay back and defend. I mean, you'd probably just their last card, so you could hard cast this with pretty much impunity. So you're going to see this thing hard cast, and hoping to draw like a Soul Ring. I think they're running Soul Ring in this deck.
Yeah. Can the Ooze grow big enough to eat the things on attacks?
There's only 1 creature in the bin, to my knowledge. So no, it cannot. My guess would be
if the Ooze trades with the things, it can't also.
No, my guess would be eat the Tarmogoyf at EOT, make it a 3/3, play out this Blacklands Paragon attack with Paragon plus the Flyer.
Yeah.
If they don't trade, great. You got him for 6 damage and put them down to half their life total.
And if they do...
then you just grow the Ooze and stop the Finks. Yep. But this Ugin, if it does resolve, can be problematic. It just presents a lot of blockers. It puts a lot of cards in Munwolf's hand. And obviously, they're very live to draw like a Toxic Deluge.
True Name Nemesis. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind. That's pretty good. I don't think, honestly, it's that relevant here, because I think what Badwolf needs to have happen renders that moot regardless, which is draw a Damnation or a Toxic Deluge, or some style of effect.
I mean, the Eugene would start helping, right? Like, because it started putting blockers down that... I guess the Stifle Bed can be anyway.
You're probably not blocking here. Maybe you block here just to save life. Yeah, I guess you do. The Black Lance was just going to trade with this or get damage in. You have the Flyer, which still hits the Ugin anyways. And if you blow the Ugin up, then it's dying in the counterattack. So it's like... I actually don't mind, like... How much life are they at? I hold it. I think I hold it here, because you have lethal on board.
Also relevant that Eugene is... unlike the previous Eugene, this one destroys instead of exiling. Which means that it still makes food for the Ooze when it kills things.
No, Luca takes this one. I mean, you could have cast it and bought an additional turn. I think you still cast it and try to buy a turn there, because you can block the Ooze with your thing, get your thing back in hand, and if you find like the Damnation, you can win. But if they don't have Damnation in deck and it's just T-Del, they're at 2 low life total, even casting, so go to 1 or 2 off that attack.
What rats does Badwolf have? Let's go figure it out. I'm assuming that if I'm them, I'm playing probably a relatively rough dense deck, right? Because their threats are not subject to it. But
their threats are not subject to it, and their threats, in general, just grind card advantage is kind of what Planeswalkers do. I don't mind Munwolf's hand against what's going on the other side, though. Like I think here I probably just YOLO out him to Turek and try to muck him. They haven't done anything proactive on turn 1. Just try to muck them. Maybe you hit both their lands, or hit all their lands. Maybe you hit just they're going to hit relevant spells. All right, no lands, but you got the what probably find their Seeker, which probably finds an Ancestral Recall, which I'm assuming is in the deck. Brainstorm's a pretty good one, but they probably just play Tarmogoyf out here, which is a 2/3, but gets blocked.
Does not play Damnation, by the way.
Okay.
They doesn't play Toxic Deluge either. It does not play any Sorcery Wrath. They have some, they have Planeswalker Wrath. They play Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, and that sort of thing. But that is.
I think that me personally and how I approach deck building, I think that's a mistake. But
yeah, no, I think I would play definitely Damnation and Toxic Deluge in this deck. Possibly, I would consider trying to fit a third Wrath in there. I don't know. I don't even know what the
two's fine. I think two's fine. You do have a lot of
argument to try to play. I don't know how many 3-mana walkers they play, but there is an argument that maybe you try to play Yahanni's Expertise, because Yahanni's Expertise into slamming an Isa Voice of Zendikar is real good.
You can even play Language if you really want to.
Planeswalkers are 4 mana, but also probably 2 is fine.
Yeah.
Right.
The best 3-mana Planeswalkers all have blue in their converted mana cost, so
you're not wrong.
They're not playing it.
That's so true. Liliana the last
it's good, but I said most. So your
that's
Oko,
fair. That's fair.
Your 3-fairy, your Scions, those are among the best 3-mana walkers. Your Mulan Ling's okay.
Yeah, Mulan Ling's okay,
worse,
but
those
I
are
wouldn't say among the best. Clearly,
she's
Oko's on
tier
top,
2.
right? Oko is the king of 3-mana walkers, and also probably all walkers.
I don't know. I honestly 3-fairy. Oko is probably the most proactive one of those cards.
Yeah, I think given how the cat has interacted with all formats in existence, I think you have to give it to Oko, and then followed by 3-fairy. And
I don't know. I think it really depends. On the matchup.
Luca points at Tainted Pact and says, "This is a recent addition."
He still has a bunch of
excited to play.
He just left it in there with a bunch of basics. All right.
I'm gonna check if Luca can actually support this Tainted Pact. I'm assuming that he did.
You can honestly play it with a bunch of basics and just value, use it for value. It's not right, probably. You probably, if they have snows and basics, maybe it works out fine. This is a recent addition, and they're lamenting it.
No, they said they were excited to play.
No, yeah, they're not.
Okay.
They're excited.
Yeah. I thought you were saying they had there was a recent addition and they had screwed up and had a bunch of basics in their deck.
They're not. Their deck is a Tainted Pact deck. They're not. It's
That'd be hilarious. It's oh shit. I've definitely done that before with Secure a Tri-Builder. I've been I didn't put basics in my deck.
Yeah, I kind of did that with my mono green deck. I was like, oh wait,
oh no,
these tutors are actually for non-forests.
Oh
shit.
no! Yeah, Farseek. Yeah, you're
oh no! I have made a terrible mistake.
All right,
yeah.
So
Fallen
Shinobi. This is great. We're gonna see a Fallen.
Yeah. Fallen Shinobi is a one-card wrenching machine. That is so powerful if it connects.
It's very powerful.
Don't know what Fallen Shinobi does.
All right, so I can explain.
You just cast it. You exile it up when it connects.
I'll explain it real quick, man. So Fallen Shinobi is a 5/4, blue and black 2. I'm sorry, 3 for casting cost, but it has ninjutsu for blue black 2. So ninjutsu, are you familiar with ninjutsu? If folks aren't, basically, if you have an unblocked creature, you can ninjutsu, pay the creature's ninjutsu cost, return the card that's unblocked to your hand, the creature, and then the ninja comes in and hits them. If Fallen Shinobi hits, you exile the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and you can cast them without paying their mana cost until end of turn. Which is busted.
Is nuts.
Top two.
Yeah.
Which is still very good. Like,
You
it's just a
cast
ramp.
both of them. You don't cast one. You get
That's it.
both.
Yeah, you can cast as many as you want. We're gonna see like just a value knight come down to blow up this thing and block. To blow up the sapphire. This game's probably over.
Usually games don't
I hate to say
survive a
that.
Fallen Shinobi hit. What is the... So we see evolution save?
I've beaten 2 Fallen Shinobi hits before, but like it's rare. Like they have to hit bad with it.
Yeah.
It's normally really bad to get hit by a Fallen Shinobi.
There's a Evolution Sage was the only real card that they found. So
Yeah,
the first one didn't go too poorly. Could have been better. But
Yeah, but they're gonna be tossing whatever they can under the bus because they're a
it's like,
planeswalker deck.
it feels like a meme, like, oh yeah, let this Tarmogoyf hit me.
Well,
What's the worst that could happen? And then you see the picture of Fallen Shinobi.
Well, no,
the worst
they
that
knew
could
full-
happen.
They knew full well like what was going to happen because they collected brutality before and hit the memory lapse out of their opponent's hand.
Right. You're right.
So they knew
You're
what was
right.
happening and they couldn't do anything about it. And like that's kind of like one of the problems with the walkers is you can't really block all that well. They're going to make a big thing here as opposed to blowing up the box. I guess I forgot this thing can become a 4/3, so it can favorably block. It can trade with the Fallen Shinobi, which is favorable because Shinobi is just a beating. There's a remand. You probably just cast out this 3/2 here and see if you can find like a fatal push. Maybe not. Attack with their 3/2. Maybe you just play on Tarmogoyf and put pressure on him and leave up remand. That's probably fine too. The highest upside play is to play out the 3/2 this legendary card and find a removal spell in one of your piles. The worst that could happen. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not one that you generally enjoy getting hit by.
I've been hit by more pleasant things.
Yeah, it's probably the worst ninja to get hit by.
Oh
like,
yeah,
literally. Like,
I mean,
it's not the best ninja. Like that goes to the other legend, the 1/3 that like domes them for the converted mana cost to your top card.
yeah, Yuriko the
Yeah,
Tiger's
the
Shadow.
commander-
Yeah, that card's better. Just as a card generally, because you can
Yeah.
cast that and not feel like a dumb.
Also,
like-
the thing is that card is for each ninja. So if your Changeling Outcast gets in, they're like, oh no.
Yeah, all right. So they're gonna remand here just to draw a card, I assume. I think I would. Like, their opponent's on nothing. They got to find a way to deal with the board and get through.
Yeah.
Not that Tarmogoyf gets blocked very favorably here. So you probably do just maybe you save the remand. You're against a Walker deck.
Yeah. I mean, their opponent's on 8 lands, so they're reaching the point where they can cast an 8 mana Walker and they cast the 4 mana Walker and then recast it immediately. But
I do think that you want to attack with Goyf and Shinobi this turn. I think I'm willing to trade off the Shinobi for essentially Knight of the Autumn to get it off the board, keep the board open. Like your board's developing.
by the way,
you got to keep them under clock. 'Cause their deck will-
You get a pile with 2 lands with the Athris or a Holocaust Roots. You 100% always put the 2 lands face down and the non-land card face up, and I've never seen anybody pick the one face up card. They always pick.
Oh, I have. If it's a good card, I'll take it over 2.
Well, yeah, there's some.
If it's like a
Your
dig through
mileage
time
may
or like
vary,
it's just a
but, like-
recall, it's like all right.
Okay. In standard, I've never seen somebody play.
So,
this is the first
yeah.
time I see this card resolving Canadian Highlander. So I'll
Because the card power in standard is a lot lower, so that does make more sense.
Yeah.
Nimble Obstructionist is interesting from the standpoint that it can actually stifle a regeneration trigger on the run. So like,
Yeah, but they
if
can
they,
just regenerate again, right?
yeah, but like they're playing like 8 drops, man. So like there's a chance that like that could end up being relevant. And it's not like they can play Ugin and just blow up the board unless
it
they want
is
to exile all their
relevant
stuff.
in which it flies.
Also a flyer. Also just a
and
flyer.
Swings
They have
past,
menace
past the board.
I do attack with all my threats here. Like I attack with like Tarmogoyf, I attack with the 3/2, I attack with the Shinobi. Shinobi will get okay. They're not gonna do it, but like the Tarmogoyf gets in for 4, puts him down to 7. The Shinobi trades off with something. And then the 3/2 probably gets value blocked. Maybe you don't attack with the 3/2. Maybe you just attack. I still don't mind attacking with the 3/2. 3/2 gets chump blocked or gets blocked by the Thrun eaten. The Shinobi trades off with the Knight of Autumn, and then the Tarmogoyf gets through, putting him down to 7 with a fetch land in play. Virtual 6 if they want to fetch. But it cleans up the board a little bit for your menace threat.
Kaya's Guile is here puts a little bit of a spanner in the works because it gets to like it has Kaya the full 4 mode Kaya's Guile.
It basically allows them to block the 3/2 menace, but now it's not going to do anything. Here. They still want to kind of hit lands. Like I kind of want to hit lands if I'm them. I do think at this point, like I don't mind like playing out Edric, and then fatal pushing the flyer. You're gonna lose some stuff in combat, but like they're at 15 life too.
Yeah,
just a bit.
because they gain 4 life from Kaya's Guy. That was the most relevant part. I think that what I'm doing here is a just pass. I keep Remand up. You stifle better at the end of the turn. Put the stifle better into play. Then slam the Edric next turn.
Fatal Push is trash, right? Like Fatal Push is not a good card in this matchup, generally speaking. Like they just have had a creature draw.
No, but I want to play Stifle Bed. Like I want to deploy the Stifle Bed at the end of their, and you might as well do it at the end of their turn, so that you can start.
I think Edric hits your land drop though, which allows you to either do that as well, or Fatal Push and then have Remand up on their turn, because you're gonna hit with something. This Menace 3/2 legendary creature, Artyrus or whatever the card's called.
Artyrus, yeah.
Is gonna hit. Like, and they're gonna eat 2 things, but like I think that's fine. Like you just want to kill them. Like I would have attacked the turn prior probably too. They're gonna fetch here, cool, for some reason.
To get a green source for the regeneration on Thron.
Got it. Makes sense. So they're going to try to mitigate damage then. What they're saying by that is they're either going to block the Shinobi with the Thrun or the Tarmogoyf with the Thrun. They want to leave up all the manas. I think I would just Fatal Push the stupid Spirit here.
Fatal Push.
Yeah, I'd Fatal Push it. Like, just get it off the board so you get more damage in.
But blocks already happen, so...
Yeah, and you also get to draw 2 cards off of it, which makes it a higher chance of drawing your land, which leaves your remand up. You know, you're still gonna get 1 draw step here, or draw trigger off of the Edric.
Yeah. Like at this point, it's too late to Fatal Push.
Yeah. I think I like doing it better there.
No, I mean, I think I agree with you that they would have. They would have done it beforehand to basically cycle the Fatal Push, right? But
to find a land. It's really like
you're cycling the Fatal Push is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You kill their spirit, but one more of your creatures gets
I think what they're doing is just trying to play very carefully here. Like, I don't think Remand's better than getting to hit with a Tarmogoyf. I guess is my point. Like, I think 4 more damage.
The plus side is that now, like, the Artyrus has free reign to hit every turn.
Yeah, and they hit a land anyways. You see, I mean, if you can draw 2 cards there, you're probably going to hit a land. Like, it's playing numbers. Well, but now you also have Stifle Bird up, which
I just land the Stifle Bird here.
Like, Thoughtseize is risky business. I guess you're going to cast it, though, and they'll just cast their Stifle Bird and draw more cards.
3 cards in hand, but yeah, they're going to get punished here, because now they're going to examine the Stifle Bird, which means...
I think, honestly, I don't even cast Thoughtseize here.
Yeah.
From the standpoint that, like, they're going to see so many goddamn cards that, like, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, like,
Badwolf
is on a 2-turn clock. Luca attacks with Artyrus, which is unblockable, and Stifle Bird, which is unblockable, given the current board. Draws 2 cards and suddenly Badwolf's at 3.
Don't you just swing out and then put them to 2?
You swing with everything because they can't block the Edric.
Probably.
They can't block the Edric.
Yeah, they can't block the Edric. Yeah, they have to block the Goyf.
They're taking 8 at a minimum. You attack with all here. Just draw as many cards as you can.
That's not what he ended up doing, but yeah, I think I agree with you. Just
all right. Yeah, I just forced their action.
Yeah, I mean,
they're gonna. This
the
is actually
only difference is that now your Edric isn't lethal anymore, but.
I mean, you can draw Collective Brutality. Actually, you can't draw Collective Brutality here to finish them off.
Yeah, not anymore because they didn't swing it with Edric and Gold.
All right. Probably just play your land out, leave up push.
Yeah, in this game is over. They
no, it's not.
Badwolf fielded that land.
Oh, do they just concede? I was gonna say if they draw like
No,
like Ugin.
Sorry, I'm a little farther ahead. They peeled the land for the last turn.
Oh, okay. They're just dead.
I was at the same point. Yeah, they drew.
Yeah, Godless Shrine. I see it now. Yeah, Ugin was a live draw. You know, Ugin out here, like,
the game wasn't over until we got to Badwolf's draw step, and there was a land, and then it was over.
Yeah.
Right. Let's watch some Gozmit and Bailite.
All right, so Red Deck wins versus Abzan control. Bailite, just some very moderate die. I don't talk to them often, but like I've talked to them a couple times about like their deck and about the game, and I think historically they've had some issues against Gozmit's build. Which I think in general, like Abzan, Abzan can most certainly get killed by Red Deck Wins. Red Deck Wins can kill any deck. But I think in general should be a decent matchup for Abzan. Maybe it's more like their control.
Well,
like the
yes, it is true, however, that I feel like Red Deck Wins in general has gotten a lot more threats that make the longer game better for them in recent years, right? You're starting getting cards like Hazoret and Experimental Frenzy, which means if the game reaches turn 6, you haven't immediately automatically lost. Obviously, the longer the game goes, the worse it is for you, but
literal Red Deck Wins doesn't play those cards. So like the 4-drop, if you're playing like the most aggressive versions of like Red Deck Wins, you play Fiery Confluence. It's pretty much it. Like in my opinion, like you don't want more than that. Fiery Confluence is great. But like the plan's very set. Now, like I don't think Experimental Frenzy is all that playable in this format, but we're gonna see this Gorge. Oh, we're gonna see go to face as opposed to killing Gorger, which I guess is fine. They're gonna try to race. I think Gorger I'd want to kill there with. They want to go downtown. I guess they're saying they got it. Maybe they have 0 cards.
Gozmit just posted some ellipses in the in-game chat. I think he didn't think about
Gorger.
Highlander.
Well, but he has Grim Lava Mancer, so he could have killed it. I guess he wants to go downtown. This is a 2-turn clock. I mean, depending if the Sylvan Library misses. Well, I don't know. That comes to like people play Red Deck Wins very differently. Actually, are they dead? Because they have a Treetop Village, which is 3, 4. That's 7, 10. If they cast a spell that costs 1 to 2 mana, then they just lose the game, right? Yeah, they can block. They can block. They can actually block.
I think.
But all of it has trample.
Wanted to kill the Hydra, but
yeah, okay, that makes more sense to me. Yeah, but like even if like they do have a 1 to 2 mana spell, unless it's a kill spell, for exactly Grim Lavamancer, they can block with the Lavamancer and only take. So let me just do the math again. If it's 1 to 2 mana spell, it goes to 4, 4, 3. So that's 11. If they block, they only take 10 and go to 1, and they can do 2 to face, and then have lethal on board with the Copter. So it still works out, I think, because they can't. I mean, they could draw with the Sylvan Library, but they would die to Grim Lavamancer immediately. So I think this still works in their favor, unless they specifically drew like Fatal Push. Fatal Push would be a game win, or like Path to Exile. Swords to Plowshares would actually not be, because they'd gain the 1 life, which is the same as blocking against the trampling creatures. A very interesting situation. Like I do think, like you're saying, the ellipses is in there. Like I think they,
it's just the 2 contestants are chatting, and it just appeared as if it was kind of a mistake, but he since clarified that it wasn't.
No, I'm saying I don't think it per se is. Like doing the math, like he still can block this turn and not die, unless his opponent draws like a life gain spell of some variety. Or I think you actually block here. Like oddly, he doesn't want to block.
No, it's 2 trample threats. Blocking doesn't.
Yeah, but the Grim Lavamancer is irrelevant here. It just needs to do 2, and then you have access to this this Copter, which does the final damage. So, like, if you think about it, like they're both 4 power attackers. So if you block and they have Berserk, let's say Berserk does not kill you, right? From that position, it puts you to 1. So like there is some nuance to blocking there.
Wait,
Berserk's
what?
not a card Bailite's playing, but like it's a card.
Berserk.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, sure.
It puts you to 1 if you block, right? So that's like
Yeah,
one of the
but
cards you
then
could play around.
You would also be swinging with the treetop village.
100%. 100%.
And then
Yeah.
that would be lethal.
Berserk would be lethal.
Yeah.
Because Hydra would go to 4, then double to 8.
Yeah, I think I made a
Trample
big
for
mistake
7,
there,
and
honestly.
then Siege Rhino hits for
Well,
4.
you won.
Kills.
Well, yeah. So you made a
Siege
good
Rhino
point
only
with that.
goes to 4 there, 8 plus 4, 12. They're at 11, you're right. That goes to Xaxes. They'd also attack with the Treetop Village, which makes sense. But it was like basically a 1 to 2 mana kill spell or bust.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that I still like killing the Hydra, but I don't know. Like,
Oh, I do, and I realized it was just like a second too late.
oh, okay, is that
I
okay? Is that Gozmit? Yeah, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, man, I think that card can get enough out of hand that like, you know,
No, I agree.
yeah.
I had completely forgotten the treetop village as well.
I mean, as it turned out, it probably didn't matter. Like they had to draw a 1 to 2 mana kill spell basically. It's not impossible, but like not likely. So, all right. Well, is that all the games?
That's
TRM?
everything. Yeah, I don't see any
All
other
right.
outstanding
Well,
games.
I'm
So
glad I was able to
let's,
make it out this week and commentate
thanks,
with you.
Thanks for joining. I want to congratulate Lucas for winning the event.
First event takedown.
Yeah, congratulations.
Ever.
Play more blue cards. They're really good, I hear.
Yeah, blue's a good color.
Look, I got unlucky, okay? It's a good matchup for me, please.
Yeah, no, it is. It's definitely like tempo is not a bad matchup for red decks.
Yeah.
In general.
And I want to thank all of our players that showed up to play today. We always appreciate everybody taking the time to participate in the tournament and jamming some powerful magic with us. It's always nice. Thanks again, Loman, for joining the event, for joining me in the booth. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier. I want
glad I can make it.
To remind everybody that you can type !Discord to join the Highlander Discord, which is what we run the tournament off of. It's full of awesome people that can get you started in the format if you're curious about what we're doing, or help you with deck building and everything, or just talk about memes and whatnot. We as a community, we do enjoy memes, which I think is... I'm gonna stop talking about that. You can type !Next poll in chat. That's gonna lead you to the sign up poll for next week. Which, if you want to join us and jam some magic with us, that's how you do it. MTGO makes playing this format a lot cheaper than it would be in paper. So maybe you don't have an opportunity to play in paper with real card on MTGO. You can absolutely jam for a reasonable price, as Loman was mentioning earlier. Speaking of price and money and all of that stuff, if you like what we are doing and you want to support us, maybe consider subscribing to this channel. It helps. It would definitely help. Like maybe it would help me doing a little bit more with this channel. I have some ideas, but they need funds to to start. I need to start putting them in place. And also if you have Amazon Prime, you can do it for free. And I'm gonna stop talking about subscription now because I don't want to spend 5 minutes shilling for random stuff. But if you have use your Amazon Prime subscription on somebody. If it's us, that's nice. If it's not us, let's use it. I am going to see everybody next week when we're gonna have this tournament again and showing some powerful magic to people, which is always great. Again, thanks everybody that played us. Thanks everybody that joined me in the booth, and thanks to and congratulations to Lucas for winning. Bye everyone. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, folks.